Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kennesaw State Owls Dynasty here on College Football 25. Today we are going to embark on the Year 2 offseason, which I'm super excited for. Of course, my favorite part in this game, especially with the introduction of the transfer portal in this installation of the game. Of course, going back to NCAA 14, that was not a feature, but first we'll just run through staff moves real quick as we did make a move, and I wish this menu was a little bit more user-friendly, as it does show all new hirings, but it doesn't show like they trace back to unless they were fired. So if they did a lateral move, it doesn't really show what school they came from. But we see here BYU and Arizona State both fire their head coaches. Pittsburgh hires Albert Lane, the former head coach there of BYU, whereas Utah State hires Adam Moss, former head coach of Arizona State. Austin Young hired there at Nebraska, level 20 elite recruiter. Ryan Cade, level 29 scheme guru, 19-8 record so far, hired there at Louisville. Georgia OC goes to the NFL. Bruce McFarlane, fired from Iowa, but then gets hired at UAB. Georgia hires Chad Butters as their offensive coordinator. Chris Pepper here was fired from Louisiana Tech. Just 3 wins, I think, in each of the first 2 years there with our in-conference Bulldogs. Pepper, though, does catch on there with Troy, as Louisiana Tech does hire Cesar Rico as their head coach. His first head coaching gig runs a pistol, and the 4-3 scheme, we'll see them next season. Florida State hires Dennis Blasi, his first head coaching gig, level 18 motivator. And that's what I mean. I wish it showed where they came from, where he was formerly the OC or DC. But unfortunately, we don't get that in this screen. Maybe I missed it in a past menu. David Brewster here fired from Houston, but gets a head coaching gig at Akron, 5-19 so far in the first 2 seasons for him. And then we get Dan Clinton here in conference, 6-7 record last season. Not sure where he came from, but he brings an air raid scheme, 3-3-5 tight defensive scheme to the conference. BYU gets a new head coach here, Doug Greenwood. Temple, a new head coach, Dalton Reisner, as the Owls finished 18th in the nation, so pretty sure their old head coach got hired somewhere else, but there's no way to tell where he went at this point. Then we'll get to Evan Kalis here. He was formerly the head coach of Ohio, fired after a 2-win season. Just 1 year they allowed him, and then we'll hire him on as our offensive coordinator. Level 23 tactician, pistol offense, base 4-3, and UCF alma mater. So we have tried to establish a big recruiting presence there in Florida and bringing on Kalis. He does bring that pipeline of South Florida, so I think that'll help out our recruiting efforts a lot. Plus he has that head coaching experience, albeit in 1 season, but he does have that 1 win against a ranked opponent. You like to see that, as now Josh Carey and Evan Kalis trying to lead this offense, as Kalis will bring a little bit of new wrinkles to our scheme. Eric Mason here fired from Cal, but gets hired at San Jose State. We saw Nebraska hired a new head coach as Earl Wilberry went to the NFL. Francis Eaton fired from Ole Miss, but then hired at Nevada. They're 12-13, or he was 12-13 with the Rebels through the first 2 seasons here. Louisville D coordinator Frank Hickman goes to the NFL. New head coach here at LSU, Hank Springer, as they did fire their old coach. LSU did make a bowl game this year. I think they lost to Oklahoma, as they'll turn to Springer now. Brings a 4-3 defense, a spread offense, with 16-11 in his previous gig wherever he came from. 2-0 in bowl games and 6-5 versus the top 25. So pretty good resume there for Springer now in Death Valley. Ole Miss also a new head coach here, Jim Bennett, although he was 0-6 versus the top 25, 0-2 in bowl games. Jay Coleman was fired here as the head coach of James Madison, but then gets hired at maybe even a better gig at Arizona, as the Wildcats do have a very talented roster at this point, although Coleman just 6 wins in his first 2 seasons as a head coach in this dynasty. Now catches on there with the Wildcats. A new head coach here for Georgia. Jesse Freeman was 19-8, a pro-style scheme there now in Athens. He was 2-0 in bowl games, 5-2 versus rivals, and 7-2 versus the top 25. So I think what it said, Georgia's previous head coach was fired, and now they get a good one here. Coach Prestige, level 34 program builder there, Jesse Freeman. Josh Gates hired here at Cal, level 26 motivator. Kansas State had a tremendous season, and they actually might have hired Freeman from Kansas State to be the Georgia head coach. I could be wrong on that, but again, I wish it showed, where they linked back to, as James Graham now the head coach. They're in Manhattan. The Wildcats a tremendous season, top 4 there in the college football playoff, although they lost to Penn State, the eventual national champs, as Penn State defeated Oregon in that championship matchup. Jack Moon fired here from Eastern Michigan. Jackie Moon. That'd be funny if we had that character here in this dynasty, for those who are familiar with Jackie Moon. If not, look him up. Now the OC there at San Jose State. And we'll kind of just zoom through the rest of it here. I think we kind of got the big ones out of the way. Charlotte and Stanford here got new head coaches. Charlotte had a tremendous season, so their old coach probably got a better gig somewhere. Oklahoma State's head coach goes to the NFL. Michigan State fires their head coach here, Mark Cloud. Just 9-15, 0-5 versus rivals, 0-8 versus the top 25, as he now gets hired there at Baylor. Army, a new head coach, Marcus Coleman, as at Florida alma mater. Mark Cook here hired at SMU. Fresno State, Florida, all with new head coaches as well. Monty Jenkins here, a prestige, going there to the Gators, 6-11, 7-6 versus the top 25. Marquez Corley for Fresno State, his first coaching gig. Mark Cook was 10-15 now there at SMU. We saw Cloud was fired at Michigan State. They now hire Mike Porter, level 37 program builder. Marcus Thornton was fired as the Purdue head coach, goes to Colorado State instead. Obviously here, the Georgia head coach did head to the NFL. Pop Toppins here, what a name that is, fired from Louisville, now gets hired at Eastern Michigan, as they actually did offer our head coach Josh Terry a head coaching gig. Also Indiana did, and I was surprised to see that. That was kind of a tempting offer. New head coaches here for Tulsa, JMU. UCLA fires Raphael Swenson, just 6 wins the past 2 seasons. As Ryan Winston was fired as the Ole Miss offensive coordinator, but gets hired as the head coach for UL Monroe. Stu Mack hired at Purdue. Ted Conley hired at Indiana. Tom Downing at Oklahoma State had a 21-6 record. Very good showing there. And again, I wish we could really see, where he came from, what school he was previously at. Arizona State's new head coach was 19-8 prior. So LSU fires Terrence Hightop as their head coach. Only 11-14, 3-7 versus rivals, 1-5 versus top 25 in the first 2 seasons here. And he gets hired at Houston instead. And now we're here at the bottom. UCLA hires Willie Franklin, was 18-9. Georgia State hires Warren Hussman. And that's going to do it here for coaching. So we will now advance. Just want to get a quick look at that, show who we hired as our new offensive coordinator. Join there with Josh Terry, as we're now simming here to the end of the season officially. And we'll look at players leaving. Last year we had like 7 players leave for transfer. And this year, nothing doing, as everyone, graduating or standing pat. No transfers lost, so that's a good sign, The players who have now been around for a couple of years buying into what Josh Terry is providing here, as we're going to lose Benyard, Garcia on offense, along with Bohannon at receiver. On defense, Watkins, Hollum, Sidney Porter, Jam Warren, both our punter and our kicker. A few starters on the offensive line in Pennington, Williams, and Dodge Soser. Then Christian Moss, who was mostly our number 1 receiver throughout the course of this dynasty. And a few other defensive players down here. So nothing lost to transfers. You like to see that, because as I said, we lost, a bulk of our defensive contributors last season to the transfer portal. There's there John Dugan, a fullback we added late, just an offer from Navy so far, as we are kind of looking to bolster our fullback situation. We'll take a look at draft results. I don't think we had anything. Maybe next season, maybe Donnelius Johnson gets drafted for us. But with that, we're going to dive into this transfer portal and offseason recruiting. And I'm not really sure where to start, but I guess we can go over the transfer portal. We'll just check that out to kick off this recruiting, this transfer portal session. And just, at the top, Ernest Green, the 3rd out of Georgia, transferring. Looks like he's going to go play for a school there in California. Francis Mauigoa transferring from Miami. So 2 tackles headlining this year's transfer portal. Armani Arnold transferring there from Cincinnati. Top running back here, Abu Sama the 3rd. From Iowa State. PJ Williams here, another tackle, so a lot of tackles here. Nick Harbor out of South Carolina at 6'5", 242. What size that is. A couple linebackers here. TJ Capers from Louisville. Cam Robinson from Virginia. Travion Ford from Toledo. First quarterback here, Austin Simmons out of Ole Miss. Currently Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama at the top. And at this point, our prospect list, we've kind of scoured the nation already when it comes to recruits coming out of high school. We've had 10 commitments so far in this class. I guess we can talk about these guys before we really get into it. So Deion Kendricks, a gem quarterback out of Ellenwood, Georgia, playing high 3A ball there. Improviser at 6'4", 224. Pretty polished passer, and he does have that star development, so that's the first time we're seeing that, as I kind of had a feeling he would turn out to be a better player than Devon Stanzi, who went 5-4 as a freshman as our starter, but Kendricks much more polished as a passer with that 83 deep accuracy, 78 short, 77 medium, 84 speed, 85 agility, so more than adequate as a runner with a stronger arm than anyone we currently have. And it looks like he is in line for some playing time as a freshman, maybe hit that 4 games and then give him the red shirt. Then we have Kevin Page here at power back, 6', 225, and he has impact dev with 92 speed and 81 strength to go along with that, 84 break tackle, trucking, and 82 carrying. He's going to have a big role this season with a diminished backfield. Nolan Ruggs here, an elusive back to complement him, and he gets a star dev. So far between Kendricks and Ruggs, we have 2 star devs. Kevin Page impact dev. And I like how we get a power back and an elusive back here to kind of complement each other. Then here George Cabrera, just normal dev, but we love that 95 speed acceleration, 87 agility as well with decent catching and route running traits otherwise. Another receiver here, Patrick Kongbo, and he does have star dev, a 6'2", 201 physical receiver. Another 95 speed receiver we get from this class with 85 spec catch, acceleration, and jumping, 77 short route, 74 catch in traffic, 79 catching, good release at 75, decent strength. So very promising start to this class. Now Eric Malveaux, an athlete who we are probably going to have at center, another impact development guy. Love that strength speed combo at 87-75 with decent blocking traits across the board. Our first commitment from the state of Arkansas. Then we have Lester Reeves here, another impact dev guy, a gem athlete linebacker at 90 speed, 71 zone, 72 block shed, 73 pursuit with 82 tackle. Very good skill set already to build off of. Then we have a corner here, Tobias Swope at 91 speed. Really liked his balanced skill set with 75 zone, 71 man. Nothing over the top, but a solid 3-star out of Grovetown, Georgia. Ben Humphreys, star dev here, safety. So is that, what, 3 or 4 star devs now in this class? You love to see that. As we're the only team, I think, all cycle to offer Humphreys. Not sure why it came out to be that way, but 88 speed with 72 zone. And he, like many of these other signees, they're going to have somewhat of a role here in year 3. And then Bradley Westbrook, another star dev safety. The first signing of this class, he was our top priority. And he signed very early on to our delight out of Athens, Tennessee, hybrid, 95 speed. Only 63 zone, but does have 74 man. So not the best traits to start, but with that development, that athletic skill set, I think he's going to be a really good fit in our 4-2-5 scheme. And then going down the board a little bit, some guys we have offered here. And then we do want to make some room for some transfer portal guys. We do have 29 out of 35, so we have 6 spots left on our board. And I kind of make it a rule that if we offer a guy, we can't remove him. So unfortunately, we're stuck here. Although we would like to get this punter signed. Haven't scouted him. Lonnie Hart will just move him up to keep him in mind here with the other guys we've been pursuing. We're not going to do anything with any of these guys quite yet. Marquis Marincola, probably our top priority at this point, although the only team to offer him looks like he's probably going to sign by next week, so I don't think we even have to really pour any resources into him this week of recruiting. Kasim Sanders here, battling here with Middle Tennessee State, but maybe going to try and look for an offensive tackle in the transfer portal to upgrade that spot, seeing as how we do need to get 3 instant contributors, as we do lose 3 starters, and I don't know how good our depth is at offensive line. So Sanders, hopefully we can bring him in, maybe another guy as well. Beach, a D end here, Donnelly, a D tackle, battling here with Oklahoma State, Arkansas, and Kansas, but with Beach just battling there for Vanderbilt. Max Trahan, only team to offer him, really probably not going to have to pour any points into him. Middlebrooks or Kagbia to start. So we can kind of put our focus into the transfer portal here in this opening week and kind of put our points that way and hold off on those guys until the next few weeks. So here, unscatted, we do probably need to add another running back in this class. Let's look at the transfer portal, though. We have 20. We can add 6 guys here. We signed 2 running backs. Definitely need someone to come in and kind of be an instant contributor with the loss of Garcia and Benyard. We have Quay Ashley, who's at 76 overall. Not sure how much better he's going to get this spring, and there seem to be a few decent options here. Keith Adams, although a power back out of Clemson. I'm really going to try and just focus on guys maybe that were in the top 3-4. Darian Younger here out of Texas Tech. Cedric Alexander, the highest of any of these guys who have interest, and we are second on his board out of Austin, Texas. A junior, I think we'll add him. Ashton Hayes, a junior out of Nevada, we'll add him as well. And then let's go with I think Larry O'Brien here at Ohio State. We're third on his board, but he's a freshman, so maybe a little bit more of a ceiling from him. At fullback, I don't think we need to add any of these guys quite yet. We have a few on our board that we need to fully scout. Wide receiver, we have no one interested, and that's interesting. So we have a guy here, Darian Aldridge, a 2-star, transferring from San Jose State, and he's already committed to BYU, even though we have not simmed any weeks here in the offseason, not free agency, here in the transfer portal, but already he's committed. So let me know if anyone has seen that before. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, no interest here in the transfer portal at wide receiver. So it looks like Bryce Dobson for his junior year will be the number 1. Then we'll have those 2 signees, George Cabrera, and then the star dev, Patrick Kongbo, along with 2 signees from last year, Monty Sahara, who was a JUCO. He was a star dev, along with Demetrius Boone. So a lot of youth in our receiving core for next season, but a lot of talent, a lot of potential. And now here at tight end, definitely a spot we wanted to address in the transfer portal. And we have 3 guys here who are interested at 3 stars. Mike O'Reilly out of Auburn. Terrence Torrance here out of Augusta, Georgia. So I think we will add him, just being the Georgia guy. And Ethan Lindley also kind of in our pipeline there in Florida, transferring from the national champion Penn State Nittany Lions. So If we can sign one of these tight ends to pair up with Carson Kent, I think that's a huge win. Ton of interest here on the offensive line. Desmond Jackson here from North Carolina, a freshman transfer, so I think we'll add him. That leaves actually that fills up our board, so we'll come back over and we'll try to slim it down. We'll come scout these high school running backs. Paul Trahan, someone who's been on our board all season, but just one offer from Colorado. 89 speed, 85 change of direction, 91 acceleration. And then we'll go for the full scout here. As he looks to be a solid running back, but maybe nothing over the top. Now we have Josh Vaughn here at receiving back, and we haven't really been able to find one of those. 83 change of direction off the rip, not the best there. And for a 2-star, he gets 87 speed, 76 spin. And with these two guys, I was really only going to keep them on the board if they turned out to be a gem or something kind of special. I think already with 2 high school signings in this class, we can kind of focus on bringing in more of an upperclassman who's going to come in and make more of an instant impact while these guys can kind of develop a little bit. So we'll go ahead and remove Paul Trahan from the board. I think he's going to be a solid running back. Same here with Josh Vaughn, can probably be a solid receiving back. But I think we need to make space on our board for other guys in the transfer portal as we decide, who we want to scout and offer out of these groupings. So we have 3 guys here at running back from the transfer portal. 1 freshman there from Ohio State. John Ritzman, we did scout, didn't offer him, so we can remove him from the board. 77 strength. The blocking traits, nothing special though from a blocking tight end. Kind of want that a little bit better. So I think we will just be out on him for now just to create more space on the board. We'll go ahead and just scout these tight ends anyway. Actually, we had Joe Velasco already on the board. Recruit out of Tallahassee. We'll go ahead and scout him. 82 agility, 88 acceleration, 83 spec catch here from the vertical threat. And he turns out to be a gem with 87 speed here at tight end. 6'5", 235, 83 spec, 77 catching, 70 short route, 72 catching traffic. So this is kind of, the compliment we were looking for at tight end there to Carson Kent. I forget if Kent's going to be a junior or senior. So we finally, kind of struck gold here in a tight end. We'll go ahead and offer Joe Velasco. As we did scout numerous tight ends over the season, we did end up offering Juan Shaw here, but a bust here as a vertical threat, so we really haven't been pouring points in him. I was really just turned off by that 78 speed. The route running pretty bad as well for a pass catching tight end. Velasco looks to be much better as he's repping Tallahassee. Juan Shaw there in Fort Lauderdale, very close on the national board, just about 100 spots on the national rankings. But Velasco, will go ahead and offer him, and I think that kind of lessens our priority at tight end. We did add those 2 transfer portal guys. We'll probably still get to scouting them, but now I think at tight end Velasco is the guy we want. I think we could just go over here to running back, scout these guys, see who we want to pursue in this spot. We'll start with Cedric Alexander. 88 agility, 82 vision, 89 speed. Pretty solid traits across the board, pretty much all in the low 80s. Does get that 93 acceleration, and like I said, pretty solid across the board. And we did get Gavin Garcia in the transfer portal last year from Kent State, ended up being our leading rusher, so maybe we can kind of strike gold again in this spot. Now Ashton Hayes from Nevada starts with 88 agility, 78 juke, 93 speed, 89 change of direction. Looks to be maybe a little bit better of an athlete than Alexander, but Alexander does have the better ball carrying traits. And now we'll come down here to Larry O'Brien, 3-star freshman out of Ohio State. 84 juke, 76 spin, 91 speed, acceleration, 90 agility. And pretty much all those carrying traits, low 70s to low 80s. 84 juke, 84 carrying, pretty solid. He has 2 mentals, a recoup. So I kind of like Logan O'Brien, I think. Even though he's the freshman compared to these guys, they're both juniors. A little bit more established, and they're pretty good. I probably prefer Alexander a little bit to Ashton Hayes, although Hayes with that 93 speed, 96 acceleration, very good combo. But I think O'Brien, probably the most complete of all of them. And with that extra eligibility, I think we might go ahead and offer him as well to start. As Charlotte, currently number 1 for him. Not really in our region, but I haven't been as focused on that as I was, in my Marquette Dynasty. Still here, College Football 25, a fresh game. So, I'm still not aware of the spots you can maybe exploit the game. I don't know if that's really the right way to put it, but I was kind of stricter in NCAA 14 with players I would approach, in these dynasty rebuilds, whatever you want to call them, just to not cheat the system so much. But here, with Kennesaw State, year 2 of this dynasty, I still am not really sure of the inner workings of the AI and all that in this game. So now we'll move over to fullback. Brock McLaughlin, blocking fullback out of Sumter, South Carolina. Really nothing special. 74 lead block, 64 impact, at 70 run block. Probably want something a little bit more imposing in that spot. We'll remove him. Then we had Bo Perkins here, a blocking JUCO guy. Philip Iguanagu, a blocking guy out of Florence, South Carolina. We scouted him a little bit. We'll go full on him here, and he turns out to be a bust. 66 impact, not really going to get it done. We'll remove him, create more space. And now here's John Dugan, already down to his bottom 3. Navy the only team to offer, so I think it might be even too late to jump in on him. And Bo Perkins being a JUCO, I don't even know if it's really worth it. We did have a couple guys over there at the transfer portal for fullback. I don't know if it's really worth it, adding them, taking up space on our recruiting board for now. I think we'll just move on, go to tight end, where we kind of already solidified that we're going to go after Velasco. And then we also had Torrance and Lindley here kind of hanging out. We'll just keep them there for now. But now, offensive tackle, we had Desmond Jackson here. We still have 5 more spots now we can add to the board. I think we'll just go back to the transfer portal before we dig into offensive line. We'll take more of a look at this spot. And Jackson here is the highest recommended player for us to target. And there's really no way to differentiate, what guys to target. You could just really go on tendency and class. But other than that, you don't really see, games played, games started, sacks allowed for these offensive linemen. You should be able to have access to at least, these player stats at this point. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Here's Misael Sandoval of Vanderbilt. 63rd on the transfer portal, but we don't really need to go over the top with offensive line. I kind of like that target we had in Jackson, maybe add one more here, or at least let's go check out interior line first. Another big heaping of players here. I think Nick Brackett, a sophomore from Duke, 6'3", 310, close proximity there in North Carolina. I think we'll add him to our board. A bunch more 3-stars. Really no way to differentiate it. Any of these guys, like I said, you don't have access to their 40 time, their 3-cone, all the numbers they would have coming out of high school at least, and maybe some even to this point in their career would have updated athletic testing numbers. But I think for offensive line, we'll just stick with those 2 guys. Like I said, we don't need to go over the top, just add a player or 2 here in the transfer portal. I think we'll just go ahead and scout them, see if they're up to snuff. 60 speed there for Jackson, not the best start. Although the 82 agility is very good for an offensive lineman. 81 acceleration, pretty good as well with 87 strength. 76 run block with 82 impact, you like that. 76 pass block overall. And still, as a freshman, I think he's someone who's going to be like mid-70s maybe. Someone who can come and compete for a starting spot in year 1, if not after that. So I think we'll offer him. Jackson and Sanders here, the offensive tackles we're targeting. And here at guard, we did have Max Trahan, who I do like, 85 strength and impact block, 77 run block and pass block power. 74 run block with 73 lead block. So obviously a more power run blocking type guy. But as a 3-star, I think he'll be a solid worst case depth guy. So now we have Nick Brackett here from Duke. We'll scout him. 78 pass block finesse, 89 run block finesse with 82 impact, 78 lead block with 69 run block. So the run block finesse is at 89, but the run block overall just at 69 with 88 strength. So pretty solid, especially for a sophomore. So I think we'll offer him as well. Probably going to compete for a starting spot there along with Jackson, 2 underclassmen from the ACC. We didn't want to overcomplicate it on the offensive line, just went for 2 targets we saw, offered them real quick, and now 31 out of 35 targets on the board. Did we do everything we could? So we might even have to go down and trim the board a little bit more, kind of decide between Alexander or Hayes. We did offer O'Brien, but we still would like to keep at least one of these other guys as some insurance, but I like both. I don't know if I could decide between cutting one of them off the board at this point. Tight end, like I said, we are kind of targeting Velasco. Maybe at this point we can scout Torrance and Lindley and maybe decide between one of these guys. That's another reason why I didn't want to add a bunch of offensive linemen here. I didn't want to overpopulate the board because now going over to defense, just 4 more target spots to work with. And I think everyone left on our board on defense we have offered. So playing by my rule, we can't take anyone off. But I don't think we need to fill many holes on defense anyway. So we'll come back over here to the transfer portal and check out the defensive side of the ball. I don't know if we looked at center actually. A few guys here, 100th ranked on the transfer portal, Bryce Radford, but we'll just stand pat with our offensive line for now. And now a lot of guys here at D end. That's kind of a lot, having to sort through so many players. Maurice Davis here at right end at Louisville, 71st on the board. We'll add him. We're first on his list out of Albany, Georgia. Wish he was a little bit heavier though, coming off the edge there at just 215. Gonna have to put him on a weight gain regimen or something, add some muscle. So that gave us a speed rusher. Chukwunedu Okeke here, power rusher out of Western Kentucky. First on his board, we'll add him. Also out of Georgia, trying to keep him in conference, snag him from the Hilltoppers. Going down here now, a guy out of Florida, Garrison Butler, another freshman power rusher, 6'1", 270. Out of Jacksonville, Florida, we'll add him, another power rusher. We like that weight at 270, maybe someone who can kick inside. Kind of similar here, Butler and Okeke. We'll scout them, see who kind of comes out as the better player. Malachi Pegues, 6'4", 212, but kind of like Jones up here. I'm not going to go all the way up, but 6'4", 212, so very light coming off the edge. Got to bulk him up a little bit. There was another player I think I liked. Here's Quincy Cumberland, another power rusher here out of Shelby, North Carolina, a freshman. So I think we'll add him as well. We'll kind of scout those power rusher D ends and see who we like the best. We'll just go ahead and offer Maurice Davis out of the rip. We don't even scout him yet just because we kind of want a speed rusher. We'd like to bring in a transfer portal guy, kind of pair him with Donovan Westmoreland on our defensive line at the edge spots. So Chukwunedu Okeke here, 93 strength. That is absurd to start with. 82 power move, 76 speed, 82 hit power, although the play rec at 59 a little low, but that's going to be a hard skill set to beat. Now Garrison Butler, 85 power move, 75 speed, 92 strength, 91 play rec. So I think he actually might be a better player than Okeke. Better power move, strength pretty much even end tackle, awareness a little bit higher, and the play rec 91 to 59 is a huge, that's a huge turning point. So Butler, I think he might be a priority along here with Maurice Davis. Maybe we can get them in as transfer portal guys at D end, mix them into the rotation with Donovan Westmoreland and Bretton Beach. If we do get him, maybe he'll just be a red shirt. And then Quincy Cumberland, will scout him as well. Really going to be hard to beat Butler. Decent though off the rip with 79 power move, 83 strength, 77 pursuit. But I think both of the other guys are a little bit better than Cumberland. So we'll just remove Cumberland off the board, gain another spot. We'll go ahead and offer Garrison Butler, as I do think I like his skill set a little bit more than Okeke. Although Chukwunedu Okeke, that's one of the best names we've had so far in this dynasty. And 34 out of 35 targets, that really doesn't leave us with much. I think we might just have to remove these two tight ends, go in favor of Velasco. But now we looked at D end in the transfer portal, now look at D tackle, and so on, get into linebackers if we have the room. But D tackle, not a huge need. We got Aaron Bryant in the transfer portal last year from Texas. We have Rudy Toure, a gem D tackle set for his first season after a red shirt. And then we have a couple guys at D end we can always, put inside on the interior if we need to. Harvey Cleveland, though, I could have swore he was the #1 recruit in all of college football last year. Actually, I'm almost sure he was, but it's showing him as a 3-star, so maybe I could be wrong, but I feel like I can really remember that. 6'1", 340, run stopper out of Buffalo, New York, and, well outside our region, but I really want to kind of take a look at him. I feel like he might have star dev or something, because I could have swore, like I said, he was the #1 recruit, because I remember Maryland getting the top guy, and I'm pretty sure it was Cleveland. But we'll move on for now. Getting over to linebacker, anyone here? Doesn't really look like it. A few 3-star guys here. Sean Davion Bradley from Tennessee, 6'5", 221 run stopper. Out of Missouri, he might be worth a look. Middle linebacker. Ben Sembrayo out of LSU. Carthage, Texas, field general at 6'3", 243. I think I can remember him from last year's recruiting class. He has physical ability, 3 mentals, and I think if we were able to get him and, match him with Danielius Johnson as our sub linebackers, I think that would do a huge grade for our defense. Anything here for corners? No corners interested. At safety, a few 3-stars here. We have Caleb Harris here, 60th on the overall board out of Auburn, a freshman. I definitely am tempted by him. So I think we might have 3 more guys we want to add here. Harris, and then at middle linebacker, definitely Sembrayo. Maybe even Bradley here at outside linebacker makes 3 players. And then at D tackle, I am really tempted by Harvey Cleveland, just based on that backstory. But I think going back here to the recruiting board, we can only afford to remove Torrance and Lindley, which gives us 3 spots to add transfer portal guys at this point. We've already removed. Oh no, we have 2 more spots here at fullback. Totally forgot about these. I guess we should just scout them, why not? 81 strength, 70 run block, 77 lead block, 79 trucking. Decent numbers there from Bo Perkins. And then with Dugan, I think we'll just outright remove him from the board. Navy is about to get him committed, so that opens up 4 more spots. We can add all those guys we wanted in the transfer portal. But the way we kind of worked it in this week 1, we scouted a lot, so that doesn't really leave us any hours to distribute. And for a guy, like Cleveland, we're 4th on his board, we might be prone to falling behind if a team there like Central Michigan, Rutgers, goes heavy in on him. But we are going to be able to afford to go heavy on a couple players at least, as we get Bradley added to the board, Sembrayo added, and then I think we had 1 safety, and that's going to be Caleb Harris here from Auburn, as that now brings us to an even 35 players on the board. And I did kind of want to look at quarterback, but, now seeing that Kendricks has that star dev, I'm more, in line to give him more of a chance as opposed to seeking someone more experienced on the transfer portal. So kind of just going down the line here, getting refreshed at each position. We do want to scout some of the new additions to the board, but with only 155, I don't know if we can really afford to scout so many of these late transfer portal additions. I think we just got to offer these guys, give them some hours, and then kind of work to next week to scout the remainder of these guys. So we're going to go to the overall board. We'll move all these guys kind of collectively together. Kind of looks ugly right now. These are all the guys we were pursuing before, but they're going to kind of slide down as we move up these priorities on the transfer portal. Although Velasco is the exception. He was on the board coming into the offseason. We didn't scout him until now, and we're able to jump on and be the first team to offer him. We might not even pour any points into him in this first week. It's probably more of a priority, more important to try and get a jump on some of these transfer portal guys, although it's not going to show, I guess, at this point, any of these teams offering until we advance to the next week. Desmond Jackson currently second on him, trailing Charlotte. Nick Brackett, again, another guy we're second on the board for. Had that left tackle, now left guard. Both guys were trying to get to transfer out of the ACC, but Charlotte trying to keep them there in state. Maurice Davis here from Louisville, open at number 1 on his board. The in-state guy out of Albany, Georgia, 6'4", 215. You know, the traits there off the edge, probably just devastating. Probably has a great first step, but Louisville kind of, in turmoil at this point. Now Garrison Butler, tremendous combination of speed, power. They're out of Jacksonville, Florida. Another guy I think you can kind of move inside as well with that 6'1", 270 frame with that strength. And then we had these guys here at the bottom, Cleveland, Bradley, Sembrayo, and Harris, the late 4 additions. We'll just go ahead and offer them all right off the rip. For Cleveland here, go down to Harris, and that's going to leave us now with 135. We'll move these guys up as well. So kind of want to offer these transfer guys like the same amount of points, but that's not really going to be a lot. So I think it might be better just to go kind of not all in on a few of them, but just go in on a few, a little more aggressive, and see how it plays out after this first week of simming. Because after this first week, we're going to have so much more resources to pour in with most of our scouting and our scholarship offers out of the way. Ben Sembrayo, though, I definitely remember him being a very good player last year as part of that freshman class. So I think, like I said, if we can get him with Danielius Johnson, that's going to form a tremendous linebacker duo in this year 3 season. It's great how the transfer portal can kind of shift some parts of your team that might be a weakness, and then just overnight, 1 week into the transfer portal, and it's suddenly a strength. So now kind of with our revamped look here, 135 hours, we have 10 guys in the transfer portal we're currently looking at, which would be 13.5 per. So instead, I think it might be better to seek out a few who we're not currently number 1 for and try to go towards them a little bit more aggressive. Or actually, probably should just go based on need. I think Sembrayo will go 25 on. Go down here for Davis. We're already number 1 for him, so we don't need to go crazy. I think we'll just go 10 just to kind of keep pace at the top there over UAB. Running back, we had 2 more backup plans, so O'Brien, I think we'll just leave blank. Same here with Velasco, even though we're 7, but he's open still, his top 8. No one offered him coming into this week. For these 2 linemen, I think we'll go 15 on both of them, just seeing as how Charlotte is leading the way, and we didn't really have much insurance on our board. Harvey Cleveland, I do kind of want to scout him, but we still have to go for Butler, Bradley, Harris here. Harris, we're 3rd on him, and I think getting a 3rd safety, we're going to have Hillman and Andrew Paul as more of our established guys. A few freshmen coming in there with Humphreys, has that star dev, same with Westbrook, but that still leaves run support safety kind of a weakness on our team. So Harris, I think we should go at least 10 or 15, maybe even 15 for him. And that leaves 55 points, so still not in bad shape. We're just going to go ahead and scout Cleveland, really interested and intrigued. 91 strength, 85 tackle, 76 block shed, 69 speed, 84 pursuit, 90 hit power. So he looks to be a stud there in the middle of your defense at 6'1", 340. Run stopper, just going to eat blocks there. Probably a perfect 1 tech, 0 tech type guy. And so we have him. We're 4th on his board. We're 2nd on Butler's, 1st on Bradley's. So for Cleveland, I think we'll go just 25 for Cleveland and then give 5 to the other guys here. And then we'll sim ahead and see how it's working. I would kind of, wanted to put forth a better plan this offseason. I feel like last offseason it was super hectic. I really wasn't sure what I was doing. I kind of have more of a grasp at what's going on here in these offseasons, but even still, you're never really sure of what to do. But that just makes it, all more part of the fun, as all these guys have been on our board throughout the season, but just not going to go after them aggressively here quite yet, as I feel like the majority here we can kind of coast on, although we might lose out on a few others, but that's all right. Then our commits here, and then our other guys here at the bottom of the board. So I think that's going to do it here in the first week of the off-season recruiting. I'm very anxious to see how it goes. And I totally forgot to upgrade our skill points. Probably would have came in handy. I don't know if it's even worth it at this point to distribute any of our coaching skill points into recruiting at this point. Recruiting actions give a bonus to wide receiver and tight ends. I mean, I guess that would be good, getting a bonus for these positions. Offensive line we can definitely do right now. I'm going to assume that will take effect right now, so we are going to spend the 5 there on the O-line. All these other positions, though, are good, unless we want to go for quarterback or running back, but I think we'll just leave it there for now. So I think then we'll go over to Motivator, and I did want to get an off-season training boost for one of these positions, and we do have 15 points, so we can go all in at this point and get 3 upgrades for one of these spots. I'm really just in it for the off-season training boost, but I'm just not sure what position we want that to go towards. So this won't affect any players immediately that we're signing right now, but it will affect everybody else who is on the roster. So I'm just thinking about our past class at who would benefit the most from an all-season training boost going into next season. And I am kind of compelled to go to our receiving core just because we had Demetrius Boone, star dev there at 63 overall, took a redshirt. Monty Sahara, a star dev at 68 overall, JUCO. Combined with their star development, this all-season training boost, that might bode even better for them, along there with Bryce Dobson, our wide receiver 1, Carson Kent at tight end, along with Jamichael Braham at tight end and impact development. So I think I just talked myself there into going wide receiver, tight end, and that's going to do it there for Josh Terry. Now up to C- coach prestige, and our skill web here is kind of resemblant of an equilateral triangle, almost, not quite, as now we're ready to advance here to week 2 of off-season recruiting. Last season we entered the off-season with just 3 commitments, and then it went down from there. We got so many signings, even losing those 6 or 7 on the transfer portal, that kind of had me worried. I didn't think we were going to be able to replenish those roster spots, but here we actually fall on Larry O'Brien's board, down to number 4 as Navy jumps over us. Still number 2 here for Nick Brackett, does get offers from Charlotte, Liberty, now into his top 3. Harvey Cleveland, we do climb to number 1 for Cleveland as we jump over Central Michigan. Rutgers also offered him. And then Ben Sambrio, we do jump into his top 3, but probably going to have to go more aggressive now at those guys. I'm talking like max points now for the Ben Sambrios, the Harvey Clevelands. I will just go over to running back now. What about Alexander and Hayes? So Hayes only 1 offer to this point from Air Force. Alexander 3 offers, but we're still not too far behind. Both of these guys still in their top 8. Whereas I think O'Brien, he is now down to his top 5, but I'm not going to worry about running back quite yet. Velasco, so he did get an offer here from FAU, so I think we do have to start going in on Joe Velasco. We'll just give him a 50 to start. That's actually max for us. We don't have any additional bonuses to distribute, so we'll go max 50 there on Joe Velasco. Here on the offensive line, South Carolina making a huge run now at Desmond Jackson. So again, we just have to do the full 50. Although we have playing style and proximity to home unlocked for him, both at A+, which is phenomenal. Once we get that last, interest unlocked, we'll go there with the hard sell here for Jackson. But for now, just give him those max 50 points. Now over to guard, we have Brackett here. Trahan's still the only team to offer him. Sanders, we actually jumped Middle Tennessee State. I thought they offered him, but I guess not. But now over to Brackett, we'll go full 50 on him. Charlotte still leading us as they have offered him. We have A for proximity to home. A- for proximity to home. You like that? Go to the full 50 now, 290 as we head over to defense. Maurice Davis still number 1 on him, but Jacksonville State rising up his board. We'll go full 50. Still haven't scouted him though. Go full 50 here on Garrison Butler, the only team to offer him. Take another look at his scouting. 92 strength and 75 speed. What a combo. 85 power move, 91 play rec. So he seems like a can't miss guy. He's going to be a sophomore. He's a freshman transfer, going to be a sophomore. And with him, I think we can preserve some points. We can just go maybe 25 on him for now. We still have Brenton Beach here being beat out by Vanderbilt at this point. Harvey Cleveland going full 50 on him. We do have A+ for playing style as an interest. We like that, but still not enough uncovered to go soft or hard sell. But we actually can visit with him, which is great. Get that out of the way. Go A+ playing style. Vaughn Donnelly, we are rising on him, even though we haven't been pouring anything into him. Still number 1 here for Carl Smoker. Marky Morincola probably going to commit here soon. Chandavian Bradley, I think we can go ahead and scout him. Sam Brio, going to just pour 50 into him. Nothing unlocked though for interest, unfortunately, which now leaves us with 140. Go over to safety here. Caleb Harris, we're now number 1 on his, and we'll go full 50 on him, which will give us, I think, 110. I'm sorry, 105 now. So I think now at this point we have pretty much all those transfers at an even 50. Although running back we do have to readdress, because we do have enough to, pour 50 into O'Brien and another one of these backs, but I don't know if I want to commit 100. I'd rather just go 50 on one of these guys. And then I do want to scout, those other transfer guys we didn't get to scout, but it might just be more important to try and shore up our running back spot. Although Bradley here, we only have 5 points poured into him, but going after Sam Brio, I don't think we need to really pursue 2 different linebackers, especially already with one signed. We have Middlebrooks down here who's likely going to sign. We'll just revisit these guys. Hart still with only 1 contract along here with Kubia, Middlebrooks, Trahan, and Sanders. Morincola as well. Hopefully he just commits, gets that out of the way this week. So still 105 now. And at this point, I'm really just considering what to do at running back and if we should even pursue Bradley, because I don't think Sam Brio is a done deal by any means. You have Houston rising up the board along with UTSA at the top. So it looks like he might just want to stay there in Texas. But then going up to running back, who would it be at running back if not? Because I think the other 2 guys were in their top 8, which means they might have a little more leeway. And Hayes still only 1 offer to this point. So maybe we just offer Hayes to kind of keep us in the running for now. Go the full 50 on O'Brien. Let's just compare them real quick. So 91 speed for O'Brien, 93 for Hayes, 96 acceleration, 88 agility. O'Brien does have the edge there, acceleration and agility, 80 ball carrier vision with 84 juke. Better juke than Hayes, but 89 change of direction for Hayes to 85 for O'Brien. 76 spin to 77 break tackle, and they are even there. So, they're not too far apart. Hayes a little more dynamic with that high acceleration, and he is an upperclassman. So with these last 100 points, it really comes down to Hayes, O'Brien. Although Alexander, we're kind of still in on him at this point, more complete than the other guys, but maybe not as dynamic. But I think he brings more of that workhorse mold that we got from Gavin Garcia, but kind of falling on him. Air Force, Texas State, Sam Houston State up there. And we still really not too late to get in on either of these guys, but still I think more leeway here with Hayes as opposed to O'Brien. So I think we'll just kind of stick to our original plan. We'll go 50 here on O'Brien. We can schedule his visit, but we only have that B proximity to home at this point. I am really tempted by Hayes, though. So indifferent on this situation, but he's a junior. I think O'Brien being the freshman really even. He might have a lot more room to grow, which now does leave us with 50 more points. So I think we'll just offer Hayes, as some insurance just to kind of keep us in the running there. And then we'll come over here to Bradley at outside linebacker. And even though we haven't scouted him yet, we'll trust that he's a good player, go full 50 on him, which does leave us now with 5 more points. Not really sure where to put that. I guess we could, just always put it in there into Hayes or here into Perkins. We could just offer Perkins a scholarship. We'll offer the fullback a scholarship there, as we haven't gotten much action on that front. So this one a little bit quicker, as we'll now move into week 3. Hopefully some good news in terms of commitments, although it usually comes down to week 4 as still nothing doing. Middlebrooks, Jackson, now we are number 1 for him as we pass South Carolina. Maurice Davis, we're pulling away now from Jacksonville State down to his top 5. Same here with Garrison Butler, no offers otherwise. Chandavian Bradley, we do pass Kansas. And Caleb Harris pulling away here, although Georgia Southern making a late run on him. Now at this point, I think we definitely will have enough hours to scout, although we are going to have to go through and modify some of our strategies right now. Now we're probably going to have to start hard selling and soft selling some guys, but Larry O'Brien, pouring the full 50 in on him and still not really doing enough for us. I think Hayes might be easier to go after, even Alexander here. So it seems like O'Brien, we've been most consistent with him, but we're 4th on his, and then we're 3rd for Hayes, 4th for Alexander. So O'Brien, I think we're just going to abandon ship on. Kind of saw that coming, although we do have a visit still with him. That's going to be an A+ for play style. And then with the other guys, we're still not even close to getting a visit for them. So I'm kind of rethinking that now. He only has 1 offer scheduled there with Charlotte, so I think we can maybe jump ahead of them, go week 4, and we'll go A+ for play style. So we kind of just, called back what we were doing. And we'll just keep him blank. Now we're going to have to start scheduling some visits, so we're going to have to conserve some points. So we'll just leave him blank as we go through and do that. Velasco, we're now number 1 on him. Big advantage now over FAU. Still can't schedule his visit though, but another week of 50 points, I think that will do the trick. And we already did just schedule O'Brien, now offensive tackle. Desmond Jackson, we have past South Carolina. He's down to his bottom 5, and we're going to go ahead and schedule him. Also give him a hard sell. Schedule him this week. Give him that A+ for play style. And then we'll go hard sell here with, it's game time, C for conference prestige, but A+ for playing style and proximity to home. I think that might be enough to bring him home, as we're still number 1 there for Sanders. No offers otherwise. We have now gone number 1 here for Nick Brackett in his top 5, and we can go ahead and schedule his visit. Pull off that 50. We'll do week 3 here for him as well. And even though we might be able to get a better one for playing time or pro potential, we'll just, be happy with the A- there, proximity to home. Leave him blank for now. Still Max Trahan, his only offer at DN. Maurice Davis, only one other offer there from Jacksonville State, and I think we'll go hard sell on him now. C pro potential, B playing style, but A proximity to home, and then we'll schedule his visit and give him A proximity to home. Hopefully he commits there after that. Harrison Butler, A- for proximity to home, B for playing style, need that last interest. We'll keep him at 25 for now. Harvey Cleveland, we already have his visit scheduled. A+ there for playing time and playing style. I'd love to see that. We'll start hard selling him once we get that last interest. Central Michigan, close with us in this battle along there with Rutgers. Arkansas now number 1 for Von Donnelly, outside linebacker. We have jumped Kansas, and now only 10 hours to work with. We can visit Bradley. We will just go get that out of the way. Losing a lot of points now with all these visits, but at least that will all replenish next week. And now just 20 hours, and we're not really making any ground here with Ben Sambraio as I would have hoped. And his interest, C for pro potential, C for proximity to home, so not the best there. Hopefully his last one is playing time or playing style. But Houston, pulling away with him, though. We are still in his top 5. Over to free safety Caleb Harris. We're still number 1 for him. Georgia Southern kind of climbing. And we can go ahead and schedule his visit with that A proximity to home. And that leaves now just 30 hours. Kubia, we're still the only team to offer him. So we're going to have to kind of rework what we're doing with our hours here. Jackson, we are hard selling, so we'll leave that. Cleveland, I think we do need to leave at 50. Davis, we're hard selling. Butler at 25, I think is fair. Sambraio at 50, we kind of have to go all in for him. So then between Harris, Bradley, we're both number 1. Each of them have just one other scholarship offer. And then Brackett, kind of closer with him. And then O'Brien, and, we had to sacrifice those 40 points to schedule his visit. And, if we don't follow that up with any hours into him, I don't know how well that will bode for us. So I think we might have to pull some out of Velasco. Pretty much everybody will pull some from. We'll go Velasco now down to 40, I think we'll do. Free up 10. Every little bit helps. For Jackson, we'll stick with that hard sell this week. And then Cleveland, like I said, I think we have to stick with the full 50. Davis, I think we'll go soft sell on him instead of hard sell, being that we just have such a big lead at this point. Still his visit coming up. Go the clutch. Butler, we could probably move him down. Just go down to 15 for him for now, just to free it up. Because I think, just one more week now, if I'm not mistaken. So now we have 70 hours, much better here to distribute between Harris, Bradley, Brackett, and O'Brien. O'Brien, I think we'll give the bulk to. We'll go 30 for him. Really hope that visit goes well, which leaves 35 now for Brackett, Bradley, and Harris. I think we just go 10 for Harris, and go 10 for Bradley, 10 for Brackett. Actually, we'll go 15 for Brackett, 5 for Harris, and then give another 10 extra here for Brackett because his race a little bit closer. Could probably use a little bit of bolstering there on the interior. And then all of our other guys here that we've been kind of coasting on still, just one team race for the most part. Beach we're not really too worried about at this point, neither here with Donnelly. But Trahan, Middlebrooks, Kubia, and Sanders all look like they're going to sign with us, which we'll take, especially with having to do nothing for it. Really no effort involved in the recruitment for quite a while, as now we're simming ahead to week 4, and we have been knocked out here by Larry O'Brien, so that one bites us. Hopefully those other running backs, still are there, but I don't know how feasible it is for us to kind of sneak in this final week. Desmond Jackson still number 1 for him. He's down to his bottom 3. Harvey Cleveland still his number 1 now. A good edge on CMU and Rutgers. You like to see that. Ben Sambraio, we actually have risen to number 1 for him. UTSA down out of the top 3 as we jump Houston, Kansas, into his top 3. Juan Shaw here, we've been ghost on him, as it looks like he might be going to FIU. Joe Velasco, number 1 on him, down to his top 5, as we're battling with FAU. And then Cedric Alexander down to his top 5. And still, Air Force, Texas State, Sam Houston not pulling away. So Cedric Alexander, we might be able to swoop in here in this final week and steal him. But it is going to take quite an effort, as now we can just go ahead and take Larry O'Brien off the board. And now here we have Joe Velasco, who we do have to schedule, but we only have that campus lifestyle uncovered. But we'll just go proximity to home. We're going to assume that's why he's interested. And we'll go ahead and schedule that. Desmond Jackson still number 1 on him. I think we'll keep with that hard sell here in the final week. Nick Brackett, we have fallen out of his number 1 spot, although Navy does not even have a visit with him. So I'm interested to see how that holds up. But we are going to go hard sell on him, even though we only have proximity to home uncovered. We're going to go hard sell and assume that playing time and playing style are his other interests. And if that's the case, we might be able to, snag him here in this final week away from Navy and Liberty. Harvey Cleveland here, still number 1 for him. And we can now go to that hard sell with his 3 interests unlocked. A+ playing time, A+ for playing style, and that C+ proximity to home. Going all the way from Buffalo to play in Kennesaw, stopping at Maryland along the way. So still plenty of time here, 225 hours. Maurice Davis, I think we can bump up his soft sell to a hard sell. And some of these transfer guys we still haven't even scouted, but I think we will be able to afford it this time, as we have the A, proximity to home, B, playing style, C, pro potential. Garrison Butler still, no offers for him. So I think even if we didn't pour any points into him this week, we would be fine. So I don't know if I'm even going to schedule a visit with him. I don't know if that's super risky or not. I think it just comes down to how many points we're working with at the end, as Kansas now has jumped us here in Davion Bradley, as we only chopped him down to 10 points. We'll go back to the 50 and see if that gets us over Kansas here in this final week. Then Ben Sombrayo, we still have to schedule him, which we can get now. And that 3rd interest, we have a 50-50 shot here. Is it playing time or is it playing style? I wish we could have saw, why he transferred from LSU. Playing time or playing style? I'm going to go with playing time. No, because LSU, they weren't that good. So he might have had time to get on the field. I'm going to go with playing style. They fired their coach. I'm going to go ahead and assume that's why he left Death Valley there. And with that visit, that, could make or break us if we get him over Houston. Caleb Harris, we're still number 1 for him, even though we only had those 5 points. Still only one of his interests uncovered. We'll go full 50, as that leaves us now with 85. Brenton Beach commits to Vanderbilt. And then I guess we also have to think about some of these guys like Morin Cola, Max Trahan, Spencer Middlebrooks, Kugbia, and Hart. Even if we don't pour anything into them, I think they all commit. Donnelly we're kind of out on. We'll just move him down here, get him out of the way. Who else is here at the bottom? Juan Shaw. Other guys we kind of offered, but really weren't too thrilled about. So Cedric Alexander, I forgot about running back here. Hayes crossed us off. So it comes down to Alexander here. If we offer him and then pour 50 into him, is that going to be enough to pass these other teams? It doesn't seem like anyone is really actively pursuing him after they offered him. And I think to bring in a veteran running back with our underclassmen, I think that would bode well. So I think we're just going to go for it. We're all for a scholarship. And we actually can visit with him. I didn't expect that. And we have that playing style unlocked as well. So that worked out perfect here with Cedric Alexander. We'll see if we can snag him, the Austin, Texas product. But now I'm really conflicted now with our points distribution. I think we do need to try to free some up. Velasco, we are, have quite the cushion against Florida Atlantic. I think we can pull 10 off him, just stick with 30 going into this final week. Desmond Jackson, I'm not too convinced over South Carolina, so we'll stick with that hard sell, stick with 40. Kind of same thing here with Nick Brackett. Same here with Harvey Cleveland. Even though we have a big edge over Central Michigan and Rutgers, I think he's a type of player that you can't take a risk on. Kind of same thing here with Maurice Davis, even though we haven't scouted him at all. And then Garrison Butler, I don't know if we're going to be able to visit him, now with the emergence of Cedric Alexander there at the top. Davion Bradley, should we just fill up these 50 points and, kind of take the risk that we're going to end up getting Ben Sombrayo? I don't know with the way it's gone, if it's feasible to pour 100 points, into 2 different linebackers, but something tells me we are going to get Sombrayo, so I think we can pull off here on Bradley, but it would be such heartbreak if we missed out on both of them altogether. Although neither of them are scouted, so it's kind of ghost recruiting at this point. Same here with Caleb Harris, but I don't think we need to go full 50 on him. UAB is kind of climbing, but the only team to have a visit with him, I think we'll go down to even maybe like 30 for him. Free up 20 more points, which now gives us 70. So we'll go back up here to Alexander, go full 50 on him, which now leaves us with 20. So I don't think we are going to get that visit with Butler. I mean, we could always pull off those 10, which would give us 30, free up 10 more, and then offer him a visit. And even though, with that being said, we are still max here on Bradley and Sambraio, so we kind of worked it pretty well. I think we have a decent cushion here on Harris. Same here with Davis with that hard sell. We had that visit. I think we'll be all right on Cleveland. Brackett, it really is going to come down to the wire for him. Same here. I think Jackson we're pretty safe on. Velasco, I would feel more comfortable going a little bit more in on him, but I think we'll just stand pat. We have 20 more points. I think we'll just go ahead and scout. I don't know if that's the most effective way to do it, but I would like to know these ratings for some of these guys. But then after saying that, I realized that's kind of dumb because we can just see their ratings, you know, after this next week. So at 20 points, I think we'll just go give ourselves a little more cushion here for Joe Velasco. We'll give him a 5 extra, even if that, you know, if that makes a difference or not. We'll go 5 more here for Brackett, which leaves us with 10 more hours. So we can go 5 more for Harris, Butler, Davis, Cleveland. I think we'll go 5 more for Cleveland just to ensure, which leaves us with 5 more points. Where do we want to put that last 5? We can go to one of these guys down here, but I think they're all pretty much done deals to sign. So we'll just go here to Caleb Harris, take off that social media, put on DM the player, and this is what we're going to stick with. So we have like over a dozen active offers here, 16 active offers plus more there at the bottom. But really, you know, a dozen of these we actually are hoping to sign. I mean, we want to sign all of them, but really, you know, not all of them are going to be as big impact guys as the next. And then we're going to simulate here into the final week. We'll see how many commitments we get, as we do get Jesmyn Jackson there from North Carolina, the transfer. Harvey Cleveland transfers from Maryland, and I'm going to stand tall and say that he was the #1 prospect in last year's recruitment, in last year's recruiting cycle, despite that 3-star status. I'm going to go back to that offseason episode and double check because I'm pretty sure he was, as we get him from Maryland. Maurice Davis transfers over from Louisville, and that's it there. But I know it doesn't show all of them. We missed out on Nick Brackett to Liberty as the screen changes. Go back to it. Chandavian Bradley does go there to Kansas. Von Donnelly signs with Arkansas. And Ben Sambraio, heartbreak there as he goes to Houston. So we do miss out on both of those linebackers as the Cougars were able to swoop back in and assure they brought in that in-state linebacker. But we'll now look at the board, see what else we brought in. I know, you know, that wasn't the full story. Cedric Alexander does sign with Air Force, so we missed out on him, as we missed out on a running back and a linebacker. But we did get Joe Velasco here, a gem tight end, 3-star out of Tallahassee, 87 speed, 83 spec catch, impact development, and he's exactly what we were looking for at tight end with that 6'5", 235 size, that athleticism, and that pass catching ability. Desmond Jackson here out of North Carolina, the transfer, has impact dev. And look at that, Harvey Cleveland, elite development. So I was telling you, I knew he was like a high-level recruit or something, because how else does he just come in here with elite development? And like I was saying, I usually wouldn't pursue a player, you know, so far outside our region there from Buffalo, New York, but I knew there was something special about Cleveland. 91 strength, 69 speed, 84 pursuit, 90 hit power. Going to be an absolute unit on our defensive line. Elite development, so the first player we've had here with elite development. And now we have Maurice Davis here, also elite development. And I wish at this point, impact development, but I wish it allowed you to scout the rest, or at least showed you their attributes, because we don't even get a look at that. Harrison Butler, also impact development. Did not even need to schedule a visit with him, as Chandavian Bradley ended up with star dev, and Ben Sambraio ended up with impact dev, as we missed out on both linebackers. I didn't expect Bradley, though, to have star dev. We'll take both of them off now. And then Caleb Harris, impact dev at safety, transfer from Auburn, I believe it was. And then we have Marquis Morincola, impact dev here at outside linebacker. But I think he's a guy we're going to put up at D-end. Kasim Sanders, we got to sign there over Middle Tennessee State. Max Trahan ends up with impact dev here at left guard. I didn't expect that. Spencer Middlebrooks here, the linebacker. We were just coasting on all these guys here, from Morincola down here to Lonnie Hart. We were just kind of coasting on. But Trahan, impact dev, going to be a solid guard. Spencer Middlebrooks, 89 speed, good traits. Otherwise, Isaiah Kugbia, another guy with impact development, 88 speed, 79 zone. Lonnie Hart, the punter, impact development from our punter, 6'5", 217 out of Thomasville, Georgia. No idea what to expect from him, but that is going to be the recruiting class. Is that 28 signings, I think, or I'm sorry, not that many. Von Donnelly, an impact development there, commits to Arkansas. Juan Shaw goes to FIU. We also get here Carl Smoker, Sean York, and Bo Perkins. Some lower tier guys that we weren't really pursuing, but we did offer a scholarship to. Bo Perkins, 81 strength, 77 lead block, 68 impact block. Sean York here, the first and only 2-star we've signed so far in this dynasty. And then Carl Smoker, he does get impact dev at D tackle. I always thought that if they were a bust, which Smoker is, that just means they're not going to have impact dev. I thought that means that they're going to just have normal, but I could be wrong on that, so correct me if I'm wrong. So we'll take Okiki off the board here. So that's 25 commitments for our Kennesaw State Year 2 recruiting class. A lot of them come in way of the transfer portal. I think that makes 6 here in Caleb Harris, Garrison Butler, Maurice Davis, Harvey Cleveland, and then Desmond Jackson and Joe Velasco on offense. So 4 on defense, 2 on offense in this year's transfer portal. We'll take a look at the overall transfer portal and see where some of the top guys ended up. As Ernest Green III goes to UCLA from Georgia, Francis Mauigoa from Miami to Liberty, so we'll be playing against him as he joins the Conference USA. Ormani Arnold to Oregon, as they cashed in with Sicario Davis in last year's transfer portal from Arizona. He ended up being a second-team All-American. Abu Sama III goes to Texas from Iowa State. PJ Williams also joining Texas, as the Longhorns get 2 of the top 5 players in this year's transfer portal. Nick Harbor there from South Carolina to Maryland, 6'5", 242 receiver. TJ Capers to Alabama, the top linebacker. Cam Robinson to Penn State from Virginia. Travion Ford to Ohio State from Toledo. They also get Austin Simmons, the top quarterback. He comes over from Ole Miss. I saw Aiden Childs here from Michigan State. He transfers to Arizona State, going closer to home there in California. So now we'll go to top classes. Last year we were at 51. We'll see where we rank this season. Alabama, the number 1 class with 4 5-stars, 24 stars. And they had 33 signings overall. The usual suspects up here at the top. SMU, 15th, as they're really emerging. They get a 5-star quarterback there in Gore, and they're really emerging as a competitive program here in college football. Maryland there at 30 now, getting down closer to the end of the top 50. As we do crack the top 50 here, we have the 45th best class with 24 3-stars and 1 2-star. 6 commitments by way of transfer portal. And we'll see other schools here. Liberty, Georgia Tech, we finish ahead of, along with Baylor, Fresno State, West Virginia. Let's go to Conference USA, see how we all ranked up. So we actually did finish with the best class in the conference at 45, Liberty at 55. They actually signed a 4-star, 2 4-stars here from Western Kentucky, a free safety and a running back. Jacksonville State gets a 4-star. They finished at 81, and they actually brought in Victor Jones Jr., transfer from Liberty. Middle Tennessee State, Louisiana Tech, and then UTEP just sneaks there into the top 100, but they're actually set to join the Mountain West Conference. So we will not be seeing UTEP anymore in conference play. Then New Mexico State at the bottom, just 17 signings, nothing over a 2-star, 11 2-stars, 6 1-star. Not the best showing there from the Aggies. I do want to take a look at the overall recruiting board, as Trayvon Keener, the top guy, an athlete out of Naples, Florida, does sign there with the Hurricanes. 5'11", 208, probably going to be a running back. DeMarco Michaels, the top corner, goes to Missouri, the second-ranked player. Then we have Taven Singleton goes to Georgia. Top quarterback Brian Patino goes to Texas. Alec Wilkins to Ohio State. Jamie Whitaker to Georgia. Josh Whipple, the top D tackle, goes to Texas. They get, 3 of the top 7? Or no, 2 of the top 7. Georgia and Texas, 2 signings here in the top 10. David Kongbo. And then Mitch Gore, the third quarterback, goes to SMU, a 5-star out of Pearland, Texas. Troy Mangold, the 10th-ranked prospect, goes to Clemson. Alabama, another signing. Ronaldo Bouye here, D tackle, goes to Colorado. Alabama, another signing here. We'll just kind of go through the 5-stars. Clemson, 2 guys here. Left tackle, Tyreek Fortin. And then Larry Brewer, a corner. Alani Clausen there from Miami, Florida, stays there in Miami. Ohio State, another signing up here. Wide receiver to South Carolina. 5'8", 175, Kyle Kirkland. As they just had a wide receiver transfer away. Ramon Castaneda to Alabama. A ton of signings that here for them, along with Georgia. Dom Holiday, I think the top running back. I don't think we've seen any running backs besides athlete running backs. Dom Holiday there going to Michigan. Mitch Lincoln, 6'6", 205, going to Wisconsin. Pat Acho, an athlete quarterback scrambler. So they already signed the top quarterback in the class. The Longhorns also get Pat Acho, so maybe going to play him elsewhere, as he does have that athlete designation. Paul Coxey going to LSU, another top-rated quarterback. A lot of 5-stars this year, as we're now outside the top 25. Kyle Dwight, powerback, 6'3", 233, going there to the national champion Penn State Nittany Lions. Notre Dame. I haven't seen Notre Dame yet. Quentin Webb here at right end. Teddy Korn, Dalvin Ebiketie going there to Michigan. And then the last 5-star here, Kevin Sendejo, D-tackle, 6'6", 306, going to Ohio State. But I think that's pretty much here for recruiting. We'll do one last swipe down the board here. Joe Velasquez, we jumped in on and got him gem tight end prospect. I think he'll fit in very well with the offense. We got Desmond Jackson, transfer from North Carolina. We're going to compete for a starting spot on the offensive line this year. And then Harvey Cleveland, the elite D-tackle, transfer from Maryland. Maurice Davis comes over from Louisville. Garrison Butler, we also get Caleb Harris. 2 more guys there in the transfer portal. Then Marquis Morincola, a gem outside linebacker, but probably someone we'll put at D-end with that 79 strength, 83 speed, 68 block shed, no coverage ability. So hopefully he has some finesse move or power move. Kasim Sanders, a decent depth offensive tackle. Kind of same here with Max Trahan on the interior, although he does have impact development. Spencer Middlebrooks, a very athletic linebacker to add to our core. Isaiah could be a tremendous, zone coverage specialist with that 79 zone coverage, impact development. Lonnie Hart, our punter, so he'll be a 4-year starter from his freshman season. And then we get into the guys we already had: Deion Kendrick, star dev quarterback; Kevin Page and Nolan Ruggs, gem running backs, but Ruggs has that star dev, whereas Page has the impact. George Cabrera, 95 speed, deep threat. Patrick Kongbo, star dev at receiver, 95 speed at 6'2", 201 physical archetype. Eric Malvo, impact development here, athlete, probably going to be a center. Lester Reeves, impact development for linebacker, 90 speed. Tobias Swope, very balanced corner. Ben Humphreys, a star dev safety. Bradley Westbrook, another star dev safety, hybrid with 95 speed. Carl Smoker, a busty tackle, but still impact development. Sean York, a 2-star, the only non-3-star we've signed so far in this dynasty. And then we've rounded it out here with Bo Perkins, a JUCO fullback. We're now here into position changes. Probably not much to do here, but we'll start with our athletes. I did not know how to change an athlete's position designation. I didn't know you had to sort it here. I thought you could just go with the right stick here and go down that way, but it doesn't show up there like it did in past years. So instead you have to sort it here by athlete. Did not know that last year, as we kind of missed out on that process. But we'll start here with Lester Reeves, run stopper with 90 speed. Let's see what else he kind of projects at. They say outside linebacker, DN, maybe safety. Even say you can play some corner, some D tackle at 5'11", 226. So really comes down to we want to play him at linebacker or up on the line. I think middle linebacker would go well for him. We don't really have much depth in that spot. I mean, we have Tosh Fat here, Michael Pettigrew, but I think out of the 3, Lester Reeves is probably the most athletic, probably the best overall. So I think he'd be the guy we want to kind of groom for that position. So again, we'll come back, sort here, and then we'll put Lester Reeves at middle linebacker, which he will be 68 overall. Might move him to the outside. We'll see. We'll get to linebacker, but we're just going to start with athletes for now and then work our way down each other positions. Now, Spencer Middlebrooks, another projected linebacker, 89 speed. And again, not going to offer any versatility on offense, more of a defensive guy. And he's a 64 overall middle linebacker, but 68 at outside linebacker. So we'll just put him at right outside linebacker for now. And then we'll get to the last one here. That was Eric Malvo, only 57 overall at center, but moving him to defense would put him up quite a bit, almost 10 overall points. 65 D tackle, 65 defensive end. So let's resort. Now we'll kind of go across the board, see what we're working with. Blocking is all pretty solid. 68 for pass block, 69 run block, 75 lead, 72 impact. But on defense, he has 75 finesse move, 66 block shed with 78 tackle, 75 pursuit. So pretty balanced on each side. He would be a good speed rusher, I think, at D tackle. But I think right now it's more pressing for us to get some guys on the offensive line. We have Nate Wright now into his senior season. We'll have Habak graduating as well. Kevin Smith, who knows how he's going to develop. And then he'll be a senior next year. Then we'll have 2 redshirt sophomores. But we're going to have to move a bunch of these guys on the offensive line. Then going to D tackle. We have way more depth at D tackle. Is Harvey Cleveland going to enter as a 78 overall redshirt freshman? But then we even have Rudy Toure, who we signed, Carl Smoker, who we signed. So even though Malvo is much less overall-wise center than he is D tackle, I think for now we just have to put him there. Even, I guess, just put him at guard for now. But he was a center, so we'll just stick with that. And like I said, once we get to offensive line, we might shake things up a little bit more. But now we'll get our first look here at the quarterbacks. Devon Stanzi, freshman, started 9 games last year. And here's Deion Kendricks as he enters as a 65 overall. I think even to what Stanzi was last year, but Kendricks is actually a lefty. Never saw that until now. At running back, Kevin Page, 69 overall. Nolan Ruggs at 67. Going to fullback, Bo Perkins, the JUCO, gets 67 overall. At receiver, Cabrera at 67. Patrick Kongbo at 66. And then we'll have Demetrius Boone and then Monty Sahara up here as well, along with Bryce Dobson at tight end. We'll have Carson Kent, Jamichael Braham in his second year, and then Joe Velasco, a 65 overall as he debuts at that spot. At left tackle, Desmond Jackson, just 72 overall. I was kind of hoping for a little bit higher, as I think now working with the offensive line is really where we're going to have to try and shake things up. Nate Wright, of course, is going to return as our center. I think Kalari Gordon, as up and down as it was of our freshman year, we'll just give him the nod there at right guard. So he's actually our highest lineman aside from Nate Wright right now. 83 and 80 there. Ethan Newman will actually going to play at right tackle. He started most of the year at that spot last season. So that gives us our center, our right guard, and our right tackle, 78, 80, and 83. But now we need our left tackle and our left guard. I guess Trey Butts is probably the guy at left tackle. We'll have Jackson backing him up kind of as our swing tackle. He could probably take over going into year 4. But then we have all these tackles here. We kind of have to distribute them elsewhere along the offensive line. Andrews, Sanders, both guys we brought in. And then we have Benjamin Keynes, Caleb May, and Christopher Kane. Probably going to look to cut maybe one of these guys at least. But then we still have to decide who's going to be our starter at left guard. We have Jarvis Adams, redshirt sophomore, 76 overall. But then we have Brian Habeck here at center. Would he be better at left guard? He'll actually go up to a 79 overall at left guard. So he'll go up 4 points. What about Kevin Smith here? He'll go up. He'll actually stay the same. So I think we'll have Brian Habeck here, redshirt senior, battling for the left guard spot there with Jarvis Adams. Move Habeck over there. Only 6'3", 260 though. Probably want him to add some weight. Jarvis Adams only 10 pounds heavier. So that gives us 4 left guards, 2 left tackles. I kind of like to keep it, somewhat even. So now 5 centers. Definitely going to have to move some of these guys around. We have so many offensive linemen, but really not many that we brought in ourselves. So we did sign Sanders and Andrews. Let's move one of these guys over to left tackle. Sanders a little bit faster, also stronger, but Andrews a much better pass blocker. Sanders more of a power guy and pretty even there for lead block and impact block. So it really comes down to, you want the better pass blocker on the right side or the left side? And I usually say the right side because that's usually the side we kind of roll out to. So we want a little bit better of a hold up at that side of the line. So I think Sanders will move over to left tackle. As I said, just kind of distribute these evenly at each position. So now that's 3, 4, 5, 3, 5. Like I said, probably going to cut one of those right tackles, so that'll go down to 4. At center, can we move any of these guys? Malveaux, we're probably just going to redshirt no matter where he's at, but we will just keep him on offensive line. And then who do we want as our third center behind Wright and Smith? Or do we want Canizaro or Dunn? 6'4", 265, 6'3", 275. Pretty even across the board athletically. Higher awareness from Dunn. Higher pass blocking from Canizaro. Both very high lead block and decent impact block as well. But Dunn, the higher awareness, I think we'll keep him at center. And Canizaro we'll just put at one of these other guard spots. Might cut him as well. We'll just put him at right guard for now. I think we're going to end up cutting like 1 or 2 offensive linemen at least, or I guess encouraging transfer rather. I didn't realize until pretty recently that when you encourage transfers, they actually stay. They go somewhere else and play. I didn't realize that, as I think we're pretty even across the board now. Like I said, we'll cut one of those right tackles. So looks like Trey Betts might be our starter at left tackle, 77 overall before training. Habeck and Adams will battle it out here at left guard. Both agile tendencies. At center, Nate Wright will be a 3-year starter there. Kalari Gordon probably going to be the starter at right guard. Although we'll see how Canizaro and even Kurt Bowler is signing from year 1. I believe he has impact development. We'll see how he develops. And then at right tackle, probably going to be Ethan Newman as he's set for his 3rd season as the starter on the offensive line. Now going over to defense, Westmoreland will keep him as our left end. And then Garrison Butler coming in at 78 overall. I really like the versatility he brings with his strength and his ability there with the power move. Going to mix him into the rotation. And then at right end, we have Maurice Davis going to form a very good tandem here off the edge with Donovan Westmoreland. 85 speed there from Westmoreland, 81 from Davis. And we didn't really get to look at his ratings, but I think once you go to player card in this menu, it kind of cancels everything out. So we'll wait. But he does have that 85 finesse move, 88 play rec, only 64 block shed, so not the best there, but 85 pursuit. And you love that finesse move, really going to get after the quarterback with Davis and Westmoreland. I think we will just keep these depth charts the same. Then at D tackle, we have a bunch of guys, but probably going to cut Jarrett or Hannon here. Really depends after development. Both guys, that were already on the team. Now moving into year 3, this roster really coming into our own, but still we're going to try to trim some players who we didn't bring in. Also, Jaden Grimes here, we might just cut him if he doesn't have good development. But Cleveland at 78 overall, our fastest D tackle at 69 speed. And then Carl Smoker here, freshman at 64, coming over to linebacker. Actually, I did want to move. We're actually really weak at linebacker. I didn't realize how slim we are. And I did want to see what Morincola would be at D end. And he would be pretty similar. What's his finesse and power move? We wanted to check that out, see if he would really translate. So he has 62 power move, only 51 finesse move, but his coverage ratings are so low. Like, you really don't want him out there in coverage, by far the lowest of anyone on this team. And even though we do need linebackers at this point, well, let's see. So Dynasty Johnson, of course, is going to be our starter at middle linebacker. And missing out on those guys in the transfer portal really kind of had a big impact on our team. We really need that second linebacker to go out there with Dynasty Johnson. So he's obviously our middle linebacker. Who do we want at right outside linebacker and left outside linebacker? 74 overall here. Wandarion Silas is our second highest rated linebacker, but just 79 speed at 6'1", 205. Amir Scarver here. All the linebackers that we had to start with on this team, really nothing special here besides Johnson. So I think we're going to have to focus on our own guys here in Michael Pettigrew and Tosh Fat and just put them at the outside spots for now. Maybe move one of them back inside once Johnson moves on. It's really just trying to see who is better in coverage, and I guess Tosh Fat is, so we'll put him at right outside linebacker, where he's actually going to go up to a 76 overall, but it will have him as a speed rusher. So he gets a little boost there, and then we're going to put Pettigrew at left outside linebacker, and he goes up to a 74 overall, also a speed rusher. I'm not really sure if that's accurate. Although I guess with that 75 finesse move, that does kind of make sense. Although Silas has 81 finesse move, only 73 zone, and it calls him a pass coverage linebacker. I don't know about that. So 74, 91, and then 76 at the linebacker spots. Probably have to move someone else inside. And I think we'll go ahead and do that with Middlebrooks, and that will make him a pass coverage middle linebacker. Although, his archetype was run stopper when we were scouting him, and now it says he's run stop or pass coverage, even though it said run stopper before. So we'll have Reeves and Middlebrooks there on the inside just for now with Silas Pettigrew. I think Pettigrew probably going to be our left outside linebacker, and then Fatini Kun going to be on the right side. But Morincola, I would like him at left outside linebacker. But even then, I think I'm still kind of more inclined to put him at D end. You really like that block shed to start, and even if that power move can get up there a little bit, I think he has more potential at that spot. But he's someone that probably is going to have to get a red shirt to kind of, fully optimize his skill set. So I'll move him at right end for now. Goes down to a 64, but probably going to red shirt him. And I think we're kind of set now. Going to corners. Hugh Billingsley saw a huge jump last spring, went up like 20 overall points. Hopefully we get something similar to that. Devin Ross, Javon Rogers. Our corner's pretty shaky at this point, but it really comes down to the spring. All these guys in the low to mid 70s, high 70s. So we'll see who can kind of pull away. We have Zeke Shockey. He was a star development from our year 1 recruiting class. Played him in 4 games. Tobias Swope, 68 overall, freshman. And then that 2-star Sean York at 61 overall. And he's going to be repping number 2, I think, because he was a 2-star. And Caleb Harris will open as a 80 overall. You'd love to see that transfer, I believe, from Auburn. And then we'll have Taiwan Christopher and Brandon Hillman. But all these guys kind of run support. I think I mentioned earlier in the episode that we were kind of, low on run support safeties. And I was really only specifying to the guys that we have signed here. And Kugbia, Humphreys, who are both zone. And then Westbrook, who is hybrid. But the guys we already had, on our roster, pretty much all run support here in Reading, who we don't really expect much from, might cut him at just 84 speed. Brandon Hillman, star dev from Michigan, so I think he'll have a big jump. And then we'll have a really good starting tandem in Hillman and then Harris, both, by way of the transfer portal. Isaac Paul has been solid over the first 2 seasons, now a junior. And then we'll probably look to mix in Kugbia, Humphreys, and Westbrook, give them 4 games each. At kicker, we're going to have Eric Calvillo, 86 kick power, 84 kick accuracy, pretty decent there for a redshirt sophomore. And then we'll have Lonnie Hart at punter, 66 overall with 69 kick power, 82 kick accuracy, as that does it here for position changes. And then we'll just finish it off here with training results. No offseason is complete without training. And we see there Dynasty Johnson, our highest player at 93 overall, the first player we've had in this dynasty over 90. Looks like Donovan Westmoreland here at left end, another senior. Looks like he had decent progression here, up to 91 finesse move, 82 power move, run stopping, has 72 block shed. So not the best run stopper, but he did have a decent impact in that spot this past season. Bryce Dobson, wide receiver 1, up to 85 overall now. We'll have him next season. Good jump from him. Route running still a little, one space there. Pretty much capped out for the most part, but at 85 overall, we didn't really expect him to get much higher than this. 82 deep route, 80 for medium, 84 short with 90 release. Catching very good at 89, 90 spec catch, 94 there. Elusiveness, total score pretty good on that part. So we're losing a lot of receivers, but at least we have a true number 1 now here in Bryce Dobson. I think our first receiver in this dynasty over 80 overall. And then Kalari Gordon here also up to 85, a big jump from him, a power right guard. He started a couple games last year, but just a lot of penalties. 95 strength, 85 impact, so this power skill set pretty good. Still some room to grow, although now he is maxed out as a run blocker at just 77 run block, but 86 for power, 80 for finesse. Pass blocking still a couple ticks there to grow. 89 pass block power, but after that, the finesse and overall pass blocking very low. IQ still just 1 room to grow. And as I mentioned, a lot of penalties last year as a redshirt freshman. And with just 64 awareness, not much room to grow there. I don't know if that's an area that's really going to get better for him. And then quickness and footwork is maxed out. So not much room to grow here from Kalari Gordon, but at 85 overall, I think we'll take that with even just a little bit room to grow. So we'll now go down by position here. Devon Stanzi now up to a 73 overall. True sophomore at quarterback. Power pretty much maxed out there at 86 throw power. Elusiveness maxed out. Accuracy 3 spots left to grow, but that deep accuracy to 68. I think Deion Kendricks, our rookie quarterback, already is into the 80s in that spot. IQ just 1 room to grow. So Devon Stanzi, not much room to grow here as our quarterback. Accuracy still has a couple notches, 3 notches there where he can grow, but I don't think he has the highest ceiling at an impact dev. Physicals, he has a few, but nothing unlocked yet. And then mentals, he does have improved ability to play out of position. So he also is someone who had that athlete designation, could play wide receiver as well, maybe even running back. Although at just 86 speed, probably not someone you want at one of those skill spots. And I don't think he had any ability on defense, but 99 play action, that's really good. 85 break sack, 97 ball carrier vision. And he has proven to be pretty good as a ball carrier. And we have a couple redshirt seniors here, and Braden Bohannon, probably going to encourage a transfer on him along here. Maybe with Davis Bryson, we might just keep Bryson. He's been a big part in this dynasty. Kendricks now at 65 overall, true freshman, now at running backs. And I was really intrigued to see how this would go, but Quay Ashley, not much progression. I think he only goes up like 2 overall points to 78. So he will be our featured back here in year 3, but his senior season, so really just, 1 season as the featured guy. And then after that, we'll be able to move on here to Kevin Page and Nolan Ruggs. Ruggs with that star dev, probably going to see a huge jump going into his sophomore season. Then DJ Scott, power back. Not much progression from him, although a junior, so he does have some room to grow. But I think Page will probably pass him as our power back next season, depending on how that training goes. But Page, just 5 points behind Scott. So I think Page will emerge as the guy along with Ruggs for next season. Fullback, we have Bo Perkins, who we just signed. At wide receiver, Dobson, we talked about jumping up to an 85 overall. Then we have Monty Sahara, who we signed last year out of a JUCO, 6'5", 186 physical receiver. Does have that star dev and jumped up, I think, about 10 overall points. But at this point, he is kind of maxed out. Just 1 room to grow here for route running, but has that 93 release with 84 short and medium, 75 deep route, hands maxed out, but 92 spec catch. Only 74 regular catch, though. IQ, 2 more slots to improve. So, like I said, he did see a big jump, but he is maxed out. Does have a couple mentals, road dog, and winning time. No physicals unlocked. But I do have a question. So, there for sure hands, it does say required is 84, and he's currently at an 84. So, why isn't that unlocked? Kind of same there with Press Pro at the bottom. He has 93, but the requirement is 92. So, I'm not sure why those aren't unlocked, but nonetheless, Monty Sahara probably going to be our number 2 here with Bryce Dobson. And then we had Demetrius Boone. Huge rise here over the spring. Went up about 15 overall points. 3-star signing last year. Has that star development. Already maxed out, though, as a route runner and for hands and elusiveness. So not much room to grow from him, over these next 4 years. Just a few spots here for power. A couple for IQ. So that's kind of a bummer, knowing here that Boone is kind of maxed out. 86 deep route. Mid to high 70s there for short and medium with 79 release. Good elusiveness, though. Good with the ball in his hands. Does have that best friend mental, and he has that double dip. Physical ability unlocked, improved double move routes. Like to see that. So Boone, I'm not sure who's going to be the slot guy. I think all these guys are better outside receivers. Short route, though, Dobson is better there than Boone. Release, 90 there for Dobson. So I think we might put Boone on the outside when we have 3 receivers on the field. Put Dobson there in the slot. But then when it's just 2 receiver sets, we'll have Sahara and Dobson. And then we have a couple of sophomore red shirts here who were already on the team when we started this dynasty, so I'm kind of inclined to maybe cut one of them. We have Ollie Joyner here, 75 overall, maxed out, literally no more room for improvement. And he has no mentals, no physicals unlocked. And then there's Alvin Alexander III here, another sophomore redshirt. And he's pretty much all capped out, as well as one here for IQ. So either way, they're pretty similar receivers, pretty much maxed out at this point. And as we go along here, I kind of want to trim the roster so it's just our players. Then we also have Cabrera and Kongbo behind them. So I think we can afford to cut one of these guys. Not really sure who, because they're so even. But Alexander, you really like that 95 agility, 95 change of direction, 87 catch in traffic, better release and better route running there for short and medium. Plus he's from Florida, so I think we're going to end up having Joyner transfer as a lone player on our roster from Illinois. Then at tight end, Jermichael Braham actually progressed and passed Carson Kent in terms of overall, although Jermichael Braham pretty much maxed out just one spot here for IQ and then blocking, but he did see a huge progression here for blocking, which really kind of cemented his skill set as a well-rounded guy. Route running there in the low 70s for short and medium, catching nothing over the top, but he has that road dog mental. No physicals unlocked yet. So you like to see that jump here from Braham now entering his freshman redshirt season. Used him in a few games. We also have Carson Kent here, who's been the starter over the first 2 seasons, but really not much progression. I guess he was already a guy who's kind of maxed out. No mentals, has that balanced physical. So I think we have a decent 2 tight end set now with Kent and Braham. Darnell here, 72 overall senior. We're going to go ahead and cut him. And then Joe Velasco comes in at 65 overall. Might play him for 4 games before giving him that red shirt. Really want to get that 87 speed on the field. See what he's all about. Already the best spec catch on this team. Although the release at just 38 needs a lot of work. That is super low. And really offers nothing as a blocker. So maybe we actually just go full on red shirt for Velasco this season. Now over to tackle. Trey Butts goes up a few points just to 79. As he's set to be our left tackle, but I don't know. IQ still a few spots to grow. Quickness a couple. But he's already maxed out as a run blocker at 80 with 84 finesse. 73 power, not good there. Pass blocking a few spots to grow, but 84 overall. 76 finesse, only 63 power. And overall, he's 82 power with 76 impact, 82 strength. So not the best, skill set here from Butts, who we expect to take over at left tackle. We have Desmond Jackson, of course, transfers over from North Carolina. But looking at the blocking traits, I think he might be more well-rounded than Butts. Well, maybe not, actually. So Butts with that 90 lead block, 80 impact. He might be the guy at left tackle. Jackson, I think, by next season, though, will grow towards a 79, high 70s, low 80 overall type guy. At left guard, we have Brian Habeck here, 79 overall. Then Jarvis Adams at 78. Very evenly matched here. Not sure who's going to be the starter. Habeck a little bit stronger, higher awareness, but Adams by far the better pass blocker, higher run block, but Habeck higher run block power and run block finesse. 97 lead block, lower impact though. So 2 guys who are very close, but I think Habeck being the senior, he's put in his time a little bit longer. Let's check out the ratings though from this spot. 2 spots to go for quickness, power a few, pass blocking a few. But I mean, he's a senior, so that really doesn't matter at this point, I guess. No physicals. We'll go over here to Jarvis Adams, who is just a redshirt sophomore, and he does have a lot more room to grow than Habeck, who is a senior, like I said. 86 lead block for Adams. Quickness overall is 85, run block at 80, but just 66 run block power. Not much room to grow there. Only 77 strength, 2 spots to grow there for power. Pass blocking, 79 overall. Decent there, finesse and power. And still a couple spots to grow. And then footwork at 83, 3 spots. No physicals. So I think I kind of like Jarvis Adams a little bit better than Habeck, but we might switch our combinations around a little bit. We have Jacob Norcross here, another redshirt sophomore. I think he might be a guy we just cut. Only 1 here for pass blocking. 58 pass blocking, not good at all. So even if he has a big jump going into his junior season, probably not a spot, that's ever going to be better than a weakness for him. And then, of course, we already have Trahan, so I don't think we really need Jacob Norcross on this roster. At center, our captain of the offensive line, Nate Wright, goes up to an 84. First team conference All-American. Maxed out as a run blocker and pass blocker, but he is a senior, so I guess that doesn't matter too much. Set for his 3rd year as a starter on this offensive line. Backing him up, Kevin Smith, a redshirt junior. Haven't really talked about him much, and he just still has decent room to grow. What is he, a junior? Has some room to grow here for quickness, run blocking 1 spot, 79 overall there. For power, 86 strength, only 72 impact, but he does have room to grow. 2 spots here for pass blocking, but just 65 at pass block power. And the footwork, a lot of room to grow there at just 71 agility, but someone with decent potential going into next season. So I kind of like him adding depth along here with Benton Dunn at center. So we're going to have Butts, Habeck, and Nate Wright graduate. So that's only 3 players on our entire offensive line. We have a few juniors as well at right guard. We talked about Kalari Gordon, a big jump from him at 6'4", 330. Good power run blocker, but really needs to harness those penalties. Then we'll have Isaac Canizaro behind him. Maybe someone we could see if maybe he challenges at that left guard spot. Run blocking already maxed out. That's at 78, just 58 run block power. Pass blocking at 82, 3 spots to grow. That's just 64 pass block power. So a lot of our guys, struggle with blocking power rushers. And then we have Havoc Pettigrew, already a senior at 75 overall. Probably just going to have him transfer. And then Kurt Bowler is signing from last year's class. We'll see how he progressed. I think he went up like 6 overall ratings or so. And look at all this room to grow that he has. And at impact dev, I think going into next season, he might jump up maybe to like an 80 overall, maybe in line for a starting spot. He's only up 3 bars here on pass blocking, still 5 notches that he can grow to. 70 overall, but 79 for finesse and power. At IQ, just 2 notches in, 5 more to grow, 4 to grow here for footwork. Power, 2 more spots to grow, but 85 strength, 77 impact, 75 acceleration and speed. Not terrible from an offensive lineman, still 3 notches there. And run blocking, a lot of room to grow. So between run blocking and pass blocking, he has like 9 spots he can still grow. Run blocking not as good as pass blocking at 73, 79 finesse, but Kurt Bowler seems to be a promising young guard we have here. Has that clear-headed mental. So like I said, maybe in line for a starting spot next year. Maybe at left guard, depending on how that's going. We're going to need a new center as well. Maybe just put Smith there, but a lot of flexibility on the offensive line. Not the best depth, but we'll see how it goes, see how this recruiting class goes. So now at right tackle, Ethan Newman, his 2nd season as the starter there. Pretty much started at left guard back in year 1. And he is just a junior, so footwork already maxed out. 1 spot here for power, already up to 90 strength, 80 impact block, run blocking up to 80 overall. Only 71 versus power though. Quickness not the best at just 61 speed, 75 acceleration. So he does struggle against speed rushers there coming off the edge, but overall very solid lineman, can play inside and out. And then I definitely wanted to cut one of these guys, Caleb May, Benjamin Keynes, or Christopher Kane. Keynes is a sophomore, so we have 2 juniors here in May and Kane. Even overall, May at 6'4", 270. Kane better size at 6'7", 300. Kane's a little stronger at 86 strength, but higher awareness here from May. But 95 pass block from Kane. Although, so this is weird. Like, he's a 95 pass block against an 82 pass block, but May has way higher pass block power and way higher pass block finesse. So wouldn't that in turn, give him a higher pass block rating? Or I guess there's other factors that go into it. Now for run blocking, Kane is better here at 83, and then pretty even after that. Lead block even at 92, but impact block higher here from Kane at 93. So either of these guys, really have room to grow from here. Kane does have 2 there for pass blocking, is maxed out as a run blocker. Some room to grow there for IQ. No abilities. And then what about May? A little bit lighter here, like 30 pounds lighter. We don't really have many guys with weight on the offensive line, and May only has 1 room to grow here for pass blocking and run blocking. So I think we'll keep Kane, and then we'll send Caleb May on his way. Now going over to defense, Donovan Westmoreland up to 86 overall. We talked about him. Ramonte Darty, though, I haven't really spoken about him in this Dynasty. Just 1 star, 76 power move. Has a little bit of room to grow, here across the board. Only 73 block shed, though. No mentals, no physicals. But he is up to 80 overall. Only 70 speed, though, with 95 strength, but just 240 pounds. So with that strength, you would think he's like a lot heavier, maybe an interior guy. With that lack of speed as well. 79 power move and finesse move, 76 block shed. So not the worst skill set, a pretty decent skill set, but that speed really throws me off at 70, but definitely makes up for it with strength. Then we have Garrison Butler, who we got from Cincinnati. RJ Taylor, a guy who's already on the roster, just 75 overall senior, so we're going to probably encourage the transfer on him. Now over at right end, we have Jackson Colvin, who saw the field a little bit last season. Decent progression from him, I think, up about 10 ratings points or so. 82 finesse move, 76 power, and still room to grow across the board, although run stopping is maxed out with just that 67 block shed. But the IQ, just 67 awareness, 54 play rec, still has 5 notches to grow. Same here with quickness, no abilities, but just a sophomore at 82 overall, still a little bit of room to grow. He might, be close to hitting 90 overall when it's all said and done. We also have Tyler Anger, who comes off a tremendous freshman season. Impact dev out of Deerfield Beach, Florida. Still some room to grow as a power rusher, up to 76. Power is maxed out, though, with 93 strength. His strength and speed combo is absolutely tremendous. 5 spots to grow as a run stopper at just 63 block shed. IQ 4 notches, almost maxed out as finesse moves, but up to 82, still one spot to grow. And 83 speed with what was it, 93 strength. Tremendous combo. We move him inside and out there on the defensive line. I think 4 or 5 sacks as a freshman. Fan favorite and road dog mentals. And probably will get some physicals unlocked here soon. So Anger going to be an active player on our D-line despite the additions here of Maurice Davis, who comes in at 80 overall. And then Butler there as well at left end. Marquez Stevens, someone we signed last year, 6'3", 271 out of Louisville, Georgia. Another impact dev guy. A lot of room to grow still. 4 spots for power moves. 6 for run stopping, 5 for finesse move. The power move up to 77, 85 strength, only 60 block shed though, so definitely needs to improve as a run stopper. 61 finesse, so really just a one-trick pony at this point, winning with that power move. But he has 2 mentals there, the natural and winning time, and recoup physical unlocked as well. But yeah, definitely someone let me know with those physicals. I see all the time players where it says requirement, and the requirement, they have a higher rating than what's required, but still they don't have that physical unlocked for whatever reason. Marquis Marincola, moved him over to right end, the freshman at D tackle. Rudy Teray, huge progression. He was a gem D tackle we signed back in year 1, but only one room to grow here on run stopping. Block shed at 78, tackle at 90, 2 spots to grow here at power. Strength already at 88. Power moves though, a lot of room to grow at just 70. So as it goes along here, Teray is going to have to really, focus on progressing his pass rush. Although the 70 power move, 73 finesse move at room to grow is a really good building point. IQ, nothing special, but both there in the 70s and room to grow. So Teray looks like a promising player, has the natural clear-headed mentals. No physicals unlocked quite yet, but a gem D tackle out of Fairburn, Georgia. Certainly going to get him on the field this season along with Aaron Bryant on the interior. A transfer from Texas last season. I thought he was going to grow a little bit more than he did, but I think he honestly stood pat there at 81 overall. Maybe went up like 1 or 2 points. Now into his senior season, 85 for run stopping. Equal there to block shed, power at 89 strength. Power move 79, finesse move 73. So again, not the best pass rusher, but that 79 power move is pretty good. No abilities though, unfortunately. So it's mostly going to be Teray Bryant, and then of course Harvey Cleveland, who he signed. And we didn't really need to pursue him, but we did just, on that inkling that I had, and he turned out to be a very good player. But the power move at just 71, finesse move at 64, probably not going to be out there unless it's in a 4-3 set or 4-4 goal line. So we do have Jarrett here, who is a junior now at 79 overall. Something we really weren't paying attention to throughout this dynasty. Nothing special as a pass rusher. So I think, just considering we already have Cleveland down here, we have Grimes, a sophomore, Carl Smoker, a D tackle. I think Jarrett here, a redshirt junior, and then Dylan Hannon here, a redshirt senior. We're going to encourage the transfers on, have Cleveland, Bryant, Teray as our main guys. Maybe work in Jaden Grimes here, who is a 76 overall speed rusher, so a little bit different of a skill set than what we have someone else who I really wasn't paying attention to on this roster. 76 finesse move, 73 power, and the power skill set not bad, although just 82 strength, only 62 block shed, but we like the upside here as a speed rusher, something we don't really have from our D tackle, so I think we could keep him, and then just we'll have Hannon and Jarrett transfer just to keep the roster a little bit slim. But at linebacker, though, really slim in these spots. I think we're going to just stand pat with everybody that we have, but looking at progression, Wandarion Silas, now at 80 overall. Only 73 zone, though, 67 man. IQ all maxed out, power a few spots to go, pass rush never going to be, 76 finesse move though is pretty good for a linebacker, off ball guy, run stopping at just 53 block shed. That's kind of, a trait that will keep you off the field no matter what else you have going for him. So even though Silas, I think our highest rated linebacker aside from Johnson, I don't really know how much I like him. I probably like our guys that we signed here, like Tosh Fat we signed, and it says undefined here for ratings, so I wonder what that's about. He does have winning time mental though, but we can't see any of his physicals or ratings, so I'm not really sure what that's about, but I'm sure it probably has something to do with because we changed his position, but we changed Pettigrew here as well, so let's see if he has the same thing going on, which he does. So it says undefined. We can't look at his mentals either. So is that something that fixes itself, or we're going to have... I even noticed it, like when they put them as speed rushers, both of them, I was kind of surprised at that. They put them at that speed rusher archetype, which definitely isn't their game. So unfortunately, we can't see, really their rise, but both went up like 6 to 7 at least overall points. Pettigrew and Tosh Fat, they're going to get some decent playing time in their redshirt freshman season. Both played in those 4 games last year. We'll have Lester Reeves, true freshman, who we might work in a little bit. Trey Hargrove here, the backup middle linebacker. We haven't really spoken of him at all in this dynasty. Just 5'11", 210 pounds as a middle linebacker. 74 zone, 65 man, 91 tackle with 78 pursuit, 69 block shed. So a decent run stopper, but super undersized. 1-star. A lot of these guys, undersized 1-stars on the defensive side of the ball for Kennesaw State. Really going to have to try and replenish this defense as we keep moving forward. And looking at our corners, very deep here. We don't really have, a true number 1, number 2 guy, but Q Billingsley, only 86 speed. That's really the biggest thing that throws me off with him. He saw a bunch of progression last year, going up like 20 points, but now just goes up 1 point this offseason. Has that 81 man, 80 press, 97 awareness, 99 change of direction. So the intangibles with him are phenomenal. It's just the athletics that aren't that great, along with 70 zone, but 83 play rec. You like that. Run stopping, just have that 81 pursuit. No mentals, no physicals. And he is just a junior, so we'll probably have him next season, and he'll probably be, 83 overall at that point. Kind of maxed out. Devin Ross made a bunch of big plays in his redshirt freshman season. Man coverage now up to 88. Change of direction, 99 press at 78, but almost maxed out there in man coverage. A lot of room to grow here in zone, though, at just 66, 63 play rec. Run stopping, a little room to grow, along with quickness, 91 speed, 94 acceleration, no mentals or ability. So I think those are going to be our top 2 corners here. And Billingsley and Ross both at 83 overall. After that, it's kind of a logjam. We have Therese Hamilton here, a junior. Javon Rogers, a sophomore, but Rogers really a strict zone corner, whereas mainly all the guys we have are man. Hamilton, 86 man, zone coverage at 73, only 1 spot to grow. Run stopping almost maxed out, and he is at 80 overall, junior. And then Javon Rogers, a sophomore here. I think they're pretty even athletically. Rogers has some room to grow in zone, even though it's already at 82. Play rec good there at 82. Man coverage at just 65, though. And run stopping, pursuit at 86, tackle at 78. So maybe someone who maybe we consider moving back to safety, depending on what our corner depth looks like next year going into his junior season. I really like those traits as a free safety with that, zone specialist. And he does have decent athletics, although we do have a couple guys there. Kugbia and Humphreys kind of already waiting in the wing, so maybe that's not the best play. Steve Biquette, the first signing we ever gotten in this dynasty, I believe, or at least one of the first. He goes up to 77 overall, about 10 points. Man coverage up to 76. Skill set at 73 in man. 99 change of direction. Run stopping, 3 spots to grow. Zone coverage, 4 spots to grow at 70. So pretty decent all around here for Steve Beckett. Has those 2 mentals. I think he's someone who's going to develop into a good player. We'll definitely get him on the field a little bit this year. Now, after redshirting, same here with Zeke Shockey. He's also up to 77 overall. 2 corners from our inaugural class here in this dynasty. Man coverage up to 79, but 80. For that specific trait, 76 for press, 90 change of direction, zone, 4 spots to grow. It does go up from like a 62 up to 73, though, much needed, as he offered really no flexibility to play zone coverage, run stopping, 81 pursuit, just 65 tackle, a couple mentals, no physicals, though. So, looking long-term, Shockey and Biquette, they might be our corners going into like year 4, year 5 of this dynasty. We have Nick Sawyer, a 71 overall senior, who we're probably going to just encourage to transfer. Buried here on the depth chart, then 2 freshmen here in Tobias Swope and 2-star Sean York. Now back at safety, Caleb Harris going to be the guy. Gets no progression though, because he comes over in the transfer portal. I guess we go back, look at his ratings. Obviously a run stopper type guy, 84 pursuit, 82 tackle, but just 62 block shed, which that was a little bit higher. 79 play rec, 76 zone with 72 man, 91 jumping. Room to grow, at least 3 or 4 ticks to grow in each of these categories. No physical or mentals, though, and he is a sophomore, so a lot of room to grow here for the impact development safety. Maybe he gets up to 90 overall or so by his senior season if all goes well. Isaac Paul, we used him a little bit in his freshman year, not so much last year, and maybe that's why he saw no progression. I think he was already a 74 overall, but look at that. So much room to grow there, zone, run support, and man coverage, so he's a pretty balanced safety, but I think going into next year, going into his senior year, he might see good jump, maybe up there to 80 overall or so, but we'll still have Harris, and we'll also have Kugbia and Humphreys, who does have that star dev. Maybe they pass him up at that point. Now it's strong safety. Taiwan Christopher emerges as our top guy, which I'm kind of surprised by. Only 85 speed. He is 85 run support safety. Pass coverage only has 71 man, 72 zone. Hands nothing special. I wish the athletics were a little bit better here on Christopher, who does emerge now as our highest rated safety at just a sophomore. What was his caps at? And he has a little bit of room to grow still. Maybe going to go to like mid to high 80 overall, as that pass coverage probably going to go up to 80 or so, I would hope. So I think Christopher, Hillman, and Harris are going to be our starting safeties this year, as we'll take a look at Brandon Hillman. And he's another guy like Bryant earlier, the transfer from Texas we got last year. Hillman transferred from Michigan with that star dead, but really didn't jump up at all, just maybe 2 overall spots, if that. But going down, he has a ton of room to grow, although he's already a senior, so it really doesn't mean much at this point. So with his lack of progression, just, up a couple spots, even with that star dev, does that mean he didn't play well last year? Does that mean, he didn't really get any skill points or whatever to give himself any raises? But I'm not sure if that's, all it's based on. But either way, we were hoping for a little bit more from Brandon Hillman. I was kind of, banking on him hitting like 85 overall or so. So I guess Harris, Christopher, and Hillman are going to be our starting safeties. We also have Markel Redding here, a junior, redshirt junior at 77 overall. Still some room to grow there for run support. Almost maxed out though. In coverage, the zone at 79, not bad, but he does have that run support archetype. But already, with Westbrook here, we have those 2 other freshman safeties. We're still going to have Harris for a couple years, Paul for another season, Christopher as well. I think we might encourage Markel Redding to transfer as well, just because he's another low athletic guy, just 84 speed, agility at 81, change of direction 79. So, he's never going to be anything better than what we already have in Taiwan Christopher, and we just got to keep that effort of kind of trimming this roster and going for our own guys. And then we have our new kicker here, Eric Calvillo, going to be 84 kick accuracy, 89 kick power. So ratings-wise, I think he's pretty even to what we had last year in Britton Williams. And then we have a freshman punter, so nothing to report on that front. So to end this episode, we're just going to go through custom conferences here and do some groundwork, as the Conference USA in present day is actually set to lose UTEP to the Mountain West. So we are just going to align that. And we also have moved some teams from the Mountain West over to the Pac-12, them being Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and Utah State here to join Washington State and Oregon State, as that's also set here in present day, set to take effect to the 2026 college football season. So we're just going to follow suit and align with what's going to go on here in present day. But also another one here, Northern Illinois is actually going to also move to the Mountain West Conference. So that gives 9 teams now to the Mountain West, 7 here in the Pac-12. So as we go along here, we'll put our own imprint here with these conferences. I'm not sure what the next step is for expansion or realignment, but we'll look into it. But now that we have lost UTEP in our own conference, we are going to do our own little thing here, and we're going to add 3 teams to our Conference USA, make it a 12-team conference, get some divisions going, just to make the conference play all that more exciting. So we're going to come over here to Independent, and we are going to move UConn over to the Conference USA. Geographically, doesn't make the most sense. UConn, very far away from all these schools, probably closest to Liberty, and even from there, it's probably like an 8-hour car ride, something like that, maybe 6 hours, something in that neighborhood. But the Conference USA is set to actually get Delaware for the 2026 season, but obviously we have no Delaware here to add to our conference, so we're just going to go with UConn. They were independent, no plans of joining a conference, but in our Dynasty universe here, we're going to add them to the Conference USA, which gives us now 10 teams. And I also forgot we have to add UMass to the MAC, as they lose Northern Illinois, but recoup that with Massachusetts, which is actually, planned in present day. So the MAC back to 12 teams, although no divisions. The Sun Belt currently the only team with divisions. And speaking of Sun Belt, we're going to come over to the Sun Belt and steal 2 of their squads, and both of them were in the conference championship last year. So we're going to take Appalachian State and move them over here to the Conference USA, and we're also going to go back, and we're going to go back for seconds, and we're going to take Louisiana, who finished in the college football playoff. They ended the season in the top 10, but we're going to make a statement here, in terms of Sun Belt versus Conference USA. We're going to come in here and snag their top 2 teams, make a statement. We had 4 finished ranked, although half of those, coming from either independent or the Sun Belt. And now at this point, it's time to make some divisions. So we're just going to go classic North and South for the divisions. And, with like UConn all the way up in the Northeast, and then we have Florida International, kind of the lone team down there in the Southeast. It's a little spread out for our divisions, but we're going to do the best we can for it to make sense geographically. We're going to stay with 8 conference games. Conference championship game, of course, that's going to be the 2 division winners, and then the championship game location. I think we're going to go somewhere kind of in the middle of where all our schools are, and that's kind of, I think, Atlanta, Georgia, even though it is kind of closer for our Kennesaw State Owls being there in Kennesaw, Georgia. I think the Mercedes-Benz Stadium there in Atlanta is a good mutual spot for all these teams battling. So we have the North, which is going to be Liberty, Middle Tennessee State, also Western Kentucky, so we have to swap them over. Also going to be our Kennesaw State Owls along with the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. And then we have to swap FIU with Appalachian State, as these are the divisions now we're going to be rocking with in this dynasty. In our North Division, it's going to be Appalachian State, Jacksonville State, Liberty, 3 very tough teams there, along with Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee State. So in our division alone, we have the top 4 teams from the Conference USA last season in Middle Tennessee State, Western Kentucky, Liberty, and Jacksonville State, and then also Appalachian State, who was in the Sun Belt Championship, but they lost to Louisiana. So I think the North, at this point, certainly the more tough division, but Louisiana 13-2 last season. They finished as a top 10 team there in the college football playoff. They're going to join the South Division along with UConn, who ended at 9-4, a ranked team with that independent schedule. We'll see how they do here now, a member of the Conference USA. And then we'll have Sam Houston, Louisiana Tech, who only had 2 wins last year. New Mexico State only 3 wins last year. So the 2 bottom dwellers in the conference last year are in this division. Sam Houston kind of middle of the pack, although they did make a bowl game. And then we'll have Florida International, only 4 wins, although they did win the conference back in year 1 of this dynasty. So it looks like the North a lot stronger at this point. Hopefully we get some more balance as we move along here. But I'm very excited for the new conference format. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive and make these conference games all that more important. But with that, we're not even going to bother going into encouraging transfers. I think we already kind of covered that when we went through all the training results. So I already did that offline. We'll now officially advance into the preseason for 2026, as we're now officially here into year 3, 2 years in the books. And this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I know it was kind of longer. I'm still kind of, getting my footing when it comes to kind of, formatting these off-season episodes, but we're getting there, and we will get there here with our Kennesaw State Owls, as we're now set for the year 3 season. We see that Texas and Texas A&M open at number 1 and 2 in the polls respectively, but we'll wait for the next episode. We'll dig in here to the preseason top 25, the preseason All-Americans, and we'll have, of course, a deep dive into our recruiting board for year 3, along with our custom schedule for this year 3 season. But as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.